shut out Wisconsin.
I think everybody has been all into the vision of what we wanted to accomplish this year.
We're a young program, a team that if you had told me this back in August, I said, not yet.
I know what kind of coach Urban Meyer is, what kind of program he has.
And he got it long down the right side for Dennis Smith in the end zone. Got it for 6. Badgers all around him. Get the Yeldon up the middle. Touchdown, Alabama.
You know, we've earned our way here.
This team's playing at an extremely high level right now. This is one of the best teams in the country.
He's gonna go. He's got it for a touchdown.
We're going to be champions. We got to go win this game.
Bowl-Finebaum Film Room is presented by Dr. Pepper.
Good evening and welcome back to the film room. We did this after the Iron Bowl. Someone must have liked it. We're back. And Greg McElroy, Booger McFarland, and you. We'll take your phone calls fairly soon here at 855-242-7285. And love to hear from you as we take you through the Sugar Bowl. Don't forget, the Sugar Bowl is on ESPN. We are a little bit of the alternative style of that. We'll talk about the game, get Greg's and Booger's comments. We'll talk to some people in New Orleans. We'll take your calls, as I mentioned. We'll comment on the SEC's performance today and yesterday, not all that impressive. We'll look ahead to the national championship. The game is not over, of course, in Pasadena, but it's pretty much over, 59-20. The dynasty, the short-lived dynasty of Jimbo Fisher and Jameis Winston having a cruel death. And, gentlemen, before we get to our game, I'd love to get Greg and Booger's comments on what we have been watching these last 3.5 hours in Pasadena.
Well, it was a little bit shocking, frankly. We knew that Oregon was a good football team. I mean, there was no question about it. Oregon is as talented and as opportunistic as anybody in this country. But I don't think anyone could have expected the type of performance they put on the field tonight. It was phenomenal in every sense of the word. Marcus Mariota is as good of a college football player as I've ever seen. Cam Newton's the best I've ever seen. Tim Tebow's certainly in the conversation. Marcus Mariota can join the short list because what he did tonight to a team that has not lost in 3 years was absolutely surprising and impressive.
Yeah, you know, and for me, I just look at one word, and that's turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what Florida State is. They won 29 games in a row, but it just shows you in preceding our game here with Alabama and Ohio State, turnovers. Turnovers are undefeated. If you turn the football over, I don't care how good you are, you're going to lose. And to me, that's the biggest takeaway out of this game.
Yeah, and they were in this game a number of times. They finally just kept coughing it up, and they could do no right after that. And, yeah, we haven't really been glued to the game. Herbie apparently said it looked like FSU has quit. When you're down 59-20, I'm not sure what the alternatives are.
Well, I mean, it's just so many plays. I mean, what Oregon does is they give you a cumulative effect of so many plays, and you get tired mentally and physically. And what Herbie means by quitting is just mentally they're drained. The over and over and over the plays, they're just mentally and physically done right now.
And that's what makes Oregon so tough, is they never let up. The foot never comes off the gas. And Florida State, look, they've been a bit of a roller coaster. When they've turned it on, they've been impressive. No doubt about it. In the second half of a lot of ball games, they've played tremendous football. But Oregon starts the game playing extremely well, never lets up. You turn it over, Oregon's going right at the jugular every single time. An impressive showing from Mark Halford's team.
We're about 25 minutes away from the kick. It may be the latest kick of a major bowl game ever, 9 p.m. Eastern time. That means past midnight ending. And for people my age, that's a serious issue.
You're a young guy, Paul.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I was at the Sugar Bowl this morning when the sun came up. That's my issue. Let me get your take first, Greg, on what you see tonight and what you think the keys to victory are.
Well, I think the guys in the nation did a really nice job. I mean, it comes down to whether or not Amari Cooper can get loose. Can Durin Grant or Eli Apple or Conley, who is he going to draw at the cornerback position? And how is Lane Kiffin going to adjust off of some of the tendencies he showed from the SEC championship game? They've had several weeks to be able to evaluate the way they went about their business in the regular season. How much will they differentiate from a formation standpoint? From a personnel standpoint, do we see some trick plays? We obviously looked at the TCU Ole Miss game yesterday. TCU starts the game with a trick play, a double pass. You have so much time to evaluate and work concepts that you wouldn't necessarily run. But when you have a bowl game, expect anything. It comes down to who executes, and I know what you're going to say, who wins at the line of scrimmage. Because that is where the games are won and lost at this level. With a lot on the line, you've got to be able to take some of the pressure off the quarterback by running the football.
If you look at the last 2 times that an Urban Meyer team has faced Nick Saban, it's the ability to run the football or the lack thereof. They have to be able to establish a running game. 19 points. Right now, Alabama is having a down year defensively. They're not very good. They're still leading FBS in rushing defense, 88 yards a game. Can Ohio State establish some type of running game? Because if they can't, now you're going to put the entire game in Cardale Jones' hands. I don't care how good he is. I don't care how poised Cardale Jones is. There's no way a guy making his second start against Kirby Smart and Nick Saban is going to be able to do it by himself. They have to. I mean, it is imperative they establish a running game.
Let me back up for just a second because we'll be talking about this game all night. But there's a lot on the line for the SEC. I mean, you can sugarcoat it. The SEC has taken a beating nationally. Auburn losing today in overtime. Yesterday, the Mississippi schools were humiliated perceptibly. A lot of reasons for that. If, for whatever reason, this game goes against Alabama tonight, where is this conference going to be in the public's mind tomorrow morning?
Well, we know what this conference is about. We've covered it all year. We know these teams inside and out. I still stand up and say this is as good a conference as there is in the country. You look at the bottom half of the SEC West, LSU did not look good against Notre Dame. Arkansas, on the other hand, was dominant, was impressive. Texas A&M had a bit of a shootout, but that's what we expected against West Virginia. The other schools, not so good. Really, really poor play. Not nearly close to their A game. And that's what you have to have in bowl games because you have so much time and the coaching is so good, being able to evaluate all the tendencies like we just talked about. You have to come out and play as well and as inspired as you do all season in the regular season because there's a lot on the line from a perception
But my question, though, Booger, is in spite of what happened on the field, if Alabama loses tonight, the narrative at this network and everywhere else is going to be this is an overrated league, and there's not much any of us can do to fight that. Do you think?
No, and here's what I look at. If you think about the perception, the SEC is built on defense. And what's taking a hit during the bowl games is the SEC defense. You look at Ole Miss, you talk about Mississippi State, LSU, Auburn. Defensively, they've been shredded. Why? I think there's one key. Look at the defensive coordinators that have left from some of those schools. Ellis Johnson, John Chambers, okay?
One of those guys was fired.
Exactly. And so when your defensive coordinators are in flux like that, now you have new guys. Prime example last night, Deshae Townsend from Mississippi State. He's calling plays.
That was a problem.
Nothing against him, but when you've never called plays in a situation like that and you're trying to stop Paul Johnson in that rushing attack, it's going to be tough. And so I think the perception-wise of the SEC is going to be down because defensively they've taken a hit. More importantly, the coordinators that have left, been fired, or in flux have left their schools in a state of shock. And those interim guys, Deshae Townsend and the guy in LSU, even though John Chambers was there, he was halfway out the door.
He was there, you're right. But
mentally, he was already gone. He was already in College Station. They just haven't been able to get the job done.
And when have we ever seen teams just gashing SEC defenses on the ground? I mean, it's not like they're hitting big plays. Yeah, sure, TCU dialed up a few jump balls, a couple trick plays, sure. But Georgia Tech gashed Mississippi State on the ground. That doesn't happen normally because of the tenacious front that Mississippi State has and what a lot of these teams have. The defensive lines have gotten pushed around. And we're not used to seeing that. And they've been dominated. Yeah. Let's be honest. We can call a spade a spade. This is a very good conference.
There's no way to get around it. But, you know, we know the league, but the guys sitting at 38,000 feet are just loaded for bear. And some of the FSU supporters are getting gashed right now, but the SEC, I think, has the most at stake, and the Big Ten hasn't looked too badly either. Anyway, a lot going on. We'll do this all night long. We'll get your phone calls. Before we move too far along, let's shoot over to Dari Noko with a wrap-up of everything else that's been going on today. Characters. We've eliminated some of those characters, by the way. You guys made the cut. Big time.
I mean, that's great.
Greg, how did you enjoy how did you enjoy doing the game the other night out west?
It was fun. I mean, it's fun. Honestly, when you call a game, Colin, you're in the environment. You're in this. I mean, you've been on location on several occasions this year. How great is it to be around the pageantry, around everything that? Obviously, the game is the game is the game, and I love the game, and that's what we watch and we study it. But what changes between college and the NFL. It's the atmosphere. It's the fans. It's the band. It's the tailgating. This is why we love this sport. The pageantry, the passion, the intensity, the nervousness in the building right now by both of these teams, the anxiety, that's the difference. Now, the product on the field in the NFL is unbelievable. But nothing can rival what is going on right now in the Superdome. And nothing was rivaling what was going on in the Rose Bowl out west.
Yeah. It's a feeling that you can't imagine, especially now right before kickoff. Guys are getting ready. Guys are jacked. Guys are ready for the biggest game of their career. And they're going over their fundamentals and their keys in their mind. They're going over their tip sheet. What's the last thing Coach told me to pay attention to? What's the one thing that I have to do in this game to be successful? Those are the little things that are going on in guys' heads right now. Just making sure you're not the guy. You're not the one guy that's going to cause us to lose tonight.
And one thing that people always ask me, Greg, did you ever get nervous? I said, heck yeah, I got nervous.
Yeah, you should have.
Absolutely. But you know what? If you're nervous, you're kind of comfortable. You know what I mean? Because we played this game a long time. You played you're 75 years old, so you've been around for a while.
No, not that old.
Well, you've been around. I mean, you're up there.
I'm older than you. Let's just say that, okay?
All right. You play a lot of games. And ever since the time I started and I put on the pads for the first time at 8 years old, I was just as nervous before that first game as I was before my final game playing for the Jets. It just, there's something about that. And nothing can really match that like a big game. The excitement, the anticipation, having a rock star sing the national anthem, it's really a special environment. And kudos to all the people that are there. I bet they're having a blast.
And to your point, Greg, Paul, I've never seen a game like this one where the first 7 minutes are going to be so critical for one team. I think for Ohio State, the first 7 minutes are going to be absolutely critical. Urban Meyer has to come out and show that his team belongs. Like, he can say it in the paper. He can talk and say, yeah, we're good in the SEC speed and we got speed at Ohio State. But until we see it on the field, until the fans see it, I just don't know if we believe it just yet.
We're going to bring callers in throughout the day, obviously, and evening. Why don't we start kind of freewheeling around the country? Glenn starts us off in Nashville, Tennessee. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening, Paul, and as always, enjoy the show. I'm loving what you're doing this evening.
Thank you.
Hey, well, I tell you what, you guys were talking about Oregon, and what just a dynamic offense. I mean, probably the most dynamic offense in college football. And if you watch them today and just how they play today, I just don't know. I'm just trying to think, who's going to stop them? I mean, it's almost like you try to prepare for them. Florida State had a lot of time to prepare for this offense, but it's like if you don't play this on a regular every year.
Let me, Glenn, that's a really good point. Greg, I mean, Alabama fans right now are pretty confident about this game. They're thinking ahead. They shouldn't be. But assuming we get the Alabama-Oregon game, talk a little bit about what the Bama defense would face.
Well, they're going to face an offense that is really simple. I mean, it looks dynamic. It looks really difficult, really tricky to figure out, but they don't do a ton of personnel substitutions. They don't have a huge, massive run game. Really, you just have to fill the gaps, and you have to understand that Mariota is going to extend plays. If you leave them, and if you play a lot of man coverage, which I would not expect anyone to do against the Oregon Ducks, where your defenders' backs are facing the quarterback, that's a huge mistake. You have to play zone concepts, so make sure you can account for the quarterback runs, but also be able to rush the passer. And when you do rush the passer, Boog, and you can hit on this, you've got to be very diligent and not getting pushed by and opening up those gaps for Marcus Mariota to escape through north and south.
Yeah, and we're mentioning Marcus Mariota a lot. To me, when you beat Oregon or you face Oregon, you try to beat them, it's not about Marcus Mariota. Let's just go back and look at Oregon traditionally when they've been beaten. They've been done and beaten because guys have physically manhandled them at the line of scrimmage. You must stop the Oregon running game. I understand Marcus Mariota. Sure. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. He's everybody's, gift from God or whatever. But you have to be able to control the line of scrimmage. You go back to when they played LSU. You go back to the times that Stanford has beaten them. Right. You look at when Auburn faced them a few years ago in the bowl game. They physically control the line of scrimmage. And when you do that, you can control the Oregon offense. It looked great today, but you can control them with a physical defense.
And I think the most important position on the field when you play the Oregon Ducks is defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. Because you have to two-gap the defense, two-gap the line. You can't be over-aggressive. You have to push the pocket from the interior. The defensive ends, they're important. They got to stay at home, sure. But the defensive tackle position, Boog, and I'm not just saying this because that's your position, is the most important on the field. And that really suits Alabama well. I mean, look at Alabama's defensive tackles. They're off the charts good, and they have a lot of depth. So
Well, your old coach would not like you talking about the next game before this one even kicks off.
We're just talking. We're talking how the match.
But I think it has raised. Alabama fans, I think, wanted FSU for obvious reasons, just like they wanted Ohio State. It's an easier matchup.
Well, you can say it's an easier matchup, but Nick Saban always talk about the process.
It is right now after 59-20.
We always talk about the process, and the process right now for Alabama, they get everything in Kirby Smart. They've designed this defense to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. If they are to win and go on to face the Oregon Ducks, I have no doubt whatsoever they'll design a defense that can contain Marcus Mariota. When's the last time Alabama gave up 59 or 60 points? I mean, it happens every now and then, but not
like the last time we were here. Auburn was on the way to 59.
No, but they didn't get there.
They were close.
They were close.
We will continue taking calls. I mean, one reminder: we had this little bit of an issue the last time we were here, as you've seen the coin toss. We are not the main channel. That's on ESPN. We are the analyst channel. So we're watching this. Always interesting to see what happens. How important is it to win the toss? So, would you defend if you got it?
It's tough to say, Paul. I mean, if you're Urban Meyer, I think you want to get off to a lead. I think you want to get off to a good start. You want to put some points on the board early, just like we talked about, to give your team some confidence.
Booger, you talked about it. Ohio State's actually going to defer to the second half, so that means Alabama will start with the football. You talked about those first 7 minutes.
Yeah,
Amari Cooper, first 7 minutes. And I agree with you on this. If I'm Ohio State, I'm receiving the ball.
Yes.
I am receiving the football. I want to get my offense off to a fast start. I'm not worried about my defense.
Yes.
I'm a lot more concerned about my offense getting going against what could be the most difficult challenge defensively they've had.
And on top of that, if Alabama scores, now Cordell Jones is behind, making his second start against Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. He's behind the first time he steps on the field. So this could be a key moment before the game ever starts.
Well, we'll see. Nick Saban looks pretty calm and collected. Why? Because he's been in this spot so many times in his career. Urban's been there more than anyone other than Nick Saban. So we're getting ready for kickoff. It seems like forever ago that this game was put on the board, and one is down. The second part of the most historical day, at least until a week from Monday night in college football history, is upon us. And that's what's so interesting, I think, guys, that tomorrow morning, all these other bowl games aren't going to matter. It's down to like the Super Bowl after the NFC and AFC championship. There are 2 left. Enjoy the game
Tennessee
tomorrow.
And Florida might feel different.
Yeah, I know. But my point is, in the real world, it's set.
But that's the way it's supposed to be, right? I mean, that's what the College Football Playoff Committee wanted. They wanted the semifinal day, and now once tonight is over, all we're going to think about is on January the 12th in Dallas. What's going to happen that day? That's all we're going to think about, and the build-up can begin. I mean, we're going to have 11 days to hype it up. I'm sure the callers on the Finebaum show, if Alabama makes it, they're going to be loud and boisterous as ever. We are going to have 11 days to break this down, and everybody's going to speculate.
So FSU outscored 41-7, 5 second-half turnovers, a brutal ending to Jameis Winston. They beat Auburn last year. Auburn loses today in overtime. Auburn finishes 8-5 after a national championship run, and we are finally here about kickoff, and as soon as we get going, we'll bring some calls in, but Greg will work over that telestrator and with Booger, and let's just watch the kickoff here for a moment. Christian Jones with little problems there catching the ball.
I mean, it's just catching and take a knee, big fella. I mean, let's not just walk away from it there. But I'll tell you the first thing we're going to see, Paul, right off the bat, Joey Bosa, Michael Bennett, 2 All-American defensive linemen. We're going to find out early and often whether or not how good are they from the Big Ten. How good are these 2 Big Ten defensive linemen?
Well, we've heard a lot about Joey Bosa.
Yeah, some people compare him to J.J. Watt. Not sure I'm one of them, but
Lane
some people.
Lane Kiffin in the national semifinal a year ago. He was looking for work. He's found it. What do you expect first play, Greg?
I would expect running game. Alabama's going to try to establish the line of scrimmage. Now, this is a similar formation that they started against Tennessee with a little naked.
You are correct. McElroy 1 for 1 on the night.
That's technically a pass, but it's an extended handoff, I would assume. A good job. Let's get Amari Cooper going early is what Lane Kiffin's saying here. We need to find a way to get him the ball. They start in the tight split, which makes it very difficult to double team him. So we'll see if they continue with those tight splits and those change in formations.
Let's also see if Lane Kiffin gets more airtime than Nick Saban. I'm betting he does.
Yeah.
Little D. Milner sighting in the background there. I imagine there's a lot of former players on the sideline.
Oh, yeah. Cheaper than tickets.
Play action. Little run there.
There's Bosa showing up early. And that's a guy, 97, that you are going to have to keep an eye on. He's very capable. He's disruptive.
And what do we know about Yeldon's physical condition, Greg? He has been hurt.
Well, you see Derrick Henry getting the start, but he's going to have an impact. I mean, if your heart's beating, you're playing in this circumstance.
Very interesting right there. One-on-one. Doran Grant on Amari Cooper. I don't expect to see that much all night. One-on-one. I understand safety was over the top, but you don't expect to see those two guys on a single shot in the screen. That's an advantage to Alabama anytime they get one-on-one coverage.
I don't like that play call. On third in a manageable situation, run the football or give me something a little bit more than a fade down the left boundary. For Blake Sims' first pass, technically his second because of the jet sweep, That's a tough, low percentage pass. He is so much better when you get him into a rhythm with the short passing game.
And not a bad punt there by country's best punter.
And you look at it, Landon Collins. I mean, how many times do you see an All-American playing special teams? You just don't see that. And this guy's unselfish. He tackles. He's going to make a ton of money at the next level. And, man, he's a joy to watch.
The advantage obviously went to Urban there and made the right call, but what are you looking for as Cardell Jones we're welcoming him to our screen?
Well, I think you got a young quarterback. You want to get him comfortable as quick as possible. And Ohio State has to balance that between running the football and getting him comfortable. I look for him to make some short, easy throws early on, get him settled down, and then once he's settled down, now you get the run game going with Ezekiel Elliott and see if this offensive line can come through.
I would expect a screen or some type of naked right here, something early.
There you go. Just establishing the run game. Nice, safe handoff. Now it's second and medium. Your entire playbook is open right now.
For the record, Oregon was a 3-and-out on its first possession, too.
You can see the
I love how you slide that in.
You can see the impact players there. Ezekiel Elliott, that's the guy that you have to be aware of. He's a burner. He's fast.
Wow. He dropped it there. Almost a great catch right there. But you can already see, though, from an offensive standpoint, if you see what Urban Meyer did just now, he doesn't want his quarterback sitting in the pocket. So a little half roll, get him on the edge. He has two reads, either or reads right there. And if it's not there, he can always take off and run. That's when you have a young quarterback. You get him on the edge, make him feel comfortable, because we know Cardell Jones is not a pocket passer right now.
That ball clearly hits the ground, but you see them getting out of the pocket. Not necessarily a high percentage throw, because they took away the easy passes. That's what Alabama's defense will be trying to do all night.
Ooh, this tackle right there. He's a big boy now. He's 6'5" and 240. You're not going to be able to arm tackle this guy. You're going to have to bring him down with some force.
And you can see the stunting up front by Alabama. Something they're going to be trying to do because they don't want to be blitzing Cardale Jones too much because of that reason right there. He can run with it.
And speaking of Cardale Jones, I don't think that Nick Saban is concerned with Cardale Jones rushing like he would be a Nick Marshall, like he would be some of these other quarterbacks in the SEC. He's very, very content if Cardale Jones is going to take off all night. I think he wants him running, actually.
You should see this block on that run a second ago. An absolute tremor being thrown. If we want to take a look at the replay, I want you guys to take a peek at this. This is the right tackle. Right here. Watch this block that you're going to see him lay on Washington, the safety. That is called cleaning him out. Alabama's got to play physical. They have to be able to establish a line of scrimmage. That's not what you need.
I'm sure they're going to take a look at this. He's awful close to the sideline, but this missed tackles right now. That's the first thing I see right now from Alabama, their defense, which is very, very uncharacteristic. Missed tackles, especially in the secondary. There's one right there. There's two. There's three.
Booger, what's the explanation for that?
You know, Paul, they've had a long layoff. Now, I don't care how long you practice, and you can have tackling drills, you can go back and forth. There's nothing like actually playing football. And when you don't play football, you don't tackle. You can scrimmage and all that, but there's nothing like mimicking the intensity. And right now, the secondary of Alabama, there's 3 missed tackles in that long run. That's not going to make Nick Saban happy.
And this was the one guy that you cannot let beat you, Ezekiel Elliott. He's 6 foot, he's 225 pounds. And when he gets on the boundary and he gets and runs the sideline, runs on the perimeter, he can explode. He went for over 200 against Wisconsin. You have to limit his production. Obviously, not a good job so far starting out for Alabama. Legal formation there.
Yeah, you see, was that Urban sprinting down the sideline there?
Yeah, Evan Spencer was off the ball, and they were getting ready to bring the receiver in motion, and that would have resulted in a 5-yard penalty. And in the red zone, you do not want to sacrifice 5 yards. Good job by Urban Meyer tagging a timeout.
Let's grab a call here while we're watching this. Nick in Atlanta, go right ahead. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Paul, man, I love the show, guys. I just wanted to tell you that I think we're collectively jumping the gun a little bit on our concern for the national perception of the SEC. We can still go 8-4 and win the national championship.
That's true. But
that is dominant. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Nick, I think your point is a good one. I think if Alabama, which hasn't looked all that impressive so far, can win this game, much of that will go by the wayside. But we know, because we work at a network with a lot of analysts who have their axes out for the SEC. And I think the advent of the SEC network has created goodwill in the SEC, but it's created a lot of ill will elsewhere because they think this is a launching pad for propaganda. You don't have to promote this league. It's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, without saying. I mean, when you've won 7 out of the last 8 national championships and your record on the field speaks for itself, you understand the perception, but you also understand the reality and why this league is what it is. And it's taken a little bit of a hit because the defenses has taken a little bit of a hit over the last couple of days. But there's no doubt the reason why people, as soon as they win, like Paul Johnson, come out and say, hey, we don't have to hear about the SEC, is because the SEC has been so good for so long.
Well, you always want to try to go after who's on top.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama, Auburn, the SEC in general, Florida with their couple championships, 3 championships. I mean, it's an unbelievable league. I mean, you can say whatever you want. And yes, they have not played well, especially the SEC West, but right now, the SEC is 5-4 in bowl games. 5-4. They still have an over 500 record. That's fine. I understand that they have not played well. I get that. Well, a lot of us would have expected them to be 9-0 at this point.
I don't think. I think even the Auburn game was not the critical one. I think it was the 2 Mississippis yesterday. And they were at the top of that.
Specifically Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Okay, because they had the number 1 scoring defense, and we're known for defense in this conference, and they just got embarrassed. I mean, you had to give hats off to TCU. They played unbelievably. And then Mississippi State last night.
Yeah, and I think they were losing in a major choke job today. I mean, TCU now is going to wait and see what happens tonight. And if Alabama wins this game convincingly, then they're going to make a lot of noise about they should have been in. But right now, Alabama has problems with its own.
Yeah.
This is the exact start that you would want if you're an Ohio State Buckeye fan. See, they got the formation fixed now. Now Evan Spencer is on the line of scrimmage.
Play action, back at corner of the end zone.
Ball floating a little bit.
And we'll watch Cardale Jones. Sometimes when you're a young passer, when the ball goes high, it's because you're gripping it a little bit tight, which means you're a little bit anxious. You're a little bit nervous. So he hasn't necessarily settled in. And when you see a guy miss high, it's because he's gripping it a little bit and it's flying and carrying. Right there, evident that Cardale Jones is a little bit nervous to start this game.
What's the call here, Greg?
Well, you got 3 receivers set down here. Let's see what Alabama has. I would assume probably if they got a one-on-one. No, you're not going to have one-on-one. Maybe a little stick nod principle down here.
Smart.
The guy in the front row just got hit by the ball. That was not a good pass. A quick reminder, by the way, and that was kind of stand there for Alabama. This is an alternate broadcast. The game is on ESPN. We're getting some people confused for the second time, but we're not talking over the game. The game is on ESPN. We are showing the game with commentary. So I would say that was a pretty good stop there for Alabama. But
it was a huge stop because you missed 3 or 4 tackles on the long run by Ezekiel Elliott, and you stiffened in the red zone. And we saw earlier today Florida State had some drives that stalled in the red zone. And when you don't put up touchdowns in a game like this, it can come back to haunt you. I think all in all, Nick Saban is happy right now.
Happy might be an exaggeration.
Well, I mean,
has he ever been happy?
Well, the score could have been 7-0.
All right, so we'll go back and look at the long run here by Ezekiel Elliott. We'll go and inside exactly what happened. You're going to watch Jacoby Boren, the center, pull out and around and try to get action on the top. A good job on the front side by Ohio State blocking. But frankly, you look at it, the wide receiver, Michael Thomas, number 3, doesn't really get a good block, doesn't win. And Eddie Jackson's got to do a better job of breaking down and shooting the gun at the runner's knees. Instead, he settles for the hesitate, loses contain, and then you're out to the gate. And a bad job by Landon Collins, too. That's a poor angle. He trips up a little bit, I understand that. But the boundary's your friend. You got to try to sell out, do anything you can to get him out of bounds, and make the guy have to run back inside.
And that was a poor effort by Ryan Anderson. I mean, come on. Yeah. He looks like he's jogging there. I mean, to me, it's okay to make mistakes, but when you do it because of a lack of effort, and that's 3 missed tackles right there, that's inexcusable right there.
It looked like to me he thought that Jackson was going to make the play. I mean, you're right. I didn't like the pursuit. I didn't like that he was running at a flat angle instead of the angle where the running back is going to be. Right. Always run where the runner's going to be. A few steps down the field.
Let's grab a call here. John is in Ohio. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you.
Go right ahead. You're on the program.
All right. I think Alabama is likely to lose this game. If you look at the record between Urban Meyer and Nick Saban, Urban Meyer has the upper hand in this game, I believe.
Well, actually, Nick Saban has the upper hand. But what's your point?
I'm thinking Urban Meyer is like, if you see how many championships he brought Florida.
Yeah, I'm afraid, John, I think you celebrated too much on New Year's Eve, but I appreciate the call. Anyway, the record is 2-1, and I don't, in spite of all the hype, I don't think that really makes a bit of difference. It's 2015. Yeah, these two haven't played since 2010.
It's a different school. I mean, it doesn't matter.
We beat Ohio State when he was in Florida.
We make a big deal out of the coaching matchup, and sure, it's a huge deal. 6 national championships between the 2 coaches, but it's not about the Floridas of 2008. It's not about the Alabamas of 2009. It's about the Ohio State and the Alabamas of 2014 and 15. The past. Rip it off. It is not influential whatsoever.
Yeah, but I'm going to disagree just a little bit because I think when you have some of the same guys calling plays, let's not ever forget Urban Meyer's influence on this offense. He has called plays against Kirby Smart and Nick Saban before. Let's not forget Nick Saban against Urban Meyer. So that influence is going to be there. No, you don't have the same players. I understand it's different schools, but the thought process, you only have one mind. I know you may have 2 up there because you're so smart. You're a Rhodes Scholar. But at the same time, you have to call plays from what you know, and those guys only know who they are.
And the only time Urban Meyer has ever beaten Nick Saban, the guy that was calling the plays, was a guy by the name of Dan Mullen, who people in this conference know well.
Mm-hmm. So, and by the way, Lane Kiffin has battled Urban Meyer one time as a head coach as well and lost barely. Nice play there.
Right now, Paul, what you see is the momentum because of the missed tackles. Right now, even though it's early, it's clearly with Ohio State. We talked about them getting off to a good start. This is the start they need. Now, the confidence will only continue to grow for Ohio State.
It's just in the Iron Bowl, the inability to score touchdowns in the red zone. Mm-hmm. We've seen this once now. I realize it's early to start making assumptions, but how important is this series, Greg, for Alabama?
It's very important. Get back on track. Get the guys feeling good. Anytime you go 3 and out to start the game, you're reeling a little bit. You're a little nervous. Expect them to lean heavily on the run game in this drive and try to, like we said early, establish the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's what they do. Anytime Alabama sniffs trouble, they're going to run the football.
Play action.
To who, though? Amari Cooper.
And they're doubling Amari. I mean, they're doubling Amari Cooper with the safety and a corner,
over the top.
And they're still able to get this ball in because of what Amari does. He presses up into the quarterback and comes straight down the line. And that's so good from a wide receiver perspective. On a quarterback, it really makes it easier when you know exactly where he's going to be.
No, Yeldon earlier, we know he was kind of limited with the leg injuries, a lot of injuries so far. And I understand they're a two-back system. Yeldon is a different cat. He's the type of guy, he can cut on a dime and give you 9 cents change right now. And the fact that he's not in there lets me know that, or here he comes, the fact that he wasn't in there early on.
It's not one play, I think, the way. Yeah,
right. But he's just starting to tail back.
So what do you expect here, Greg? You expect?
Well, you have to get something here.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is a really big play.
This is a huge play early in the game, just to try to swing the momentum a little bit. I think you try to find Cooper, who's in a cut split at the top. No, Cooper's down here solo. Here we go, a little underneath route. There you go. Trying to get to Cooper on the deep crease route. Bad throw by, what we say about throwing high. That's when you're feeling a little bit nervous. Blake Sims, obviously a little bit antsy at the beginning of this game, and rightfully so. There's a lot on the line, a lot of expectations. And what did we talk about Blake Sims getting off to a good start? I mean, it's really important. He's kind of a streaky passer, so short, quick passing game.
The Iron Bowl and in the SEC championship game, Alabama started pretty well and then came back a little bit. So, I mean, you can't read too much.
Yeah, I don't read much into this, right? It's early. It's 3-0.
That was 4 minutes in.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes in. Alabama's a defensive football team. If their defense settles down, their entire team will settle down.
One thing, their punter doesn't need to settle down.
That is.
Make the tackle. There you go.
Knock the helmet off.
That's a guy you're going to be aware of throughout the course of the game is Jalen Marshall. He's an explosive player, does a good job in the return game, and they will hit him on some of those jet sweeps that Ohio State does so often. That is just a booming kick.
Ooh.
A good hit by Jarek Williams.
I can feel that.
I mean, fifth-year senior, I've been talking about special teams. That's such a key in a big game like this because you can switch momentum. Right now, you're starting at the 20-yard line. Bama goes 3 and out, and look where the opponent is. It's not like the field position is leaning heavily in favor of Ohio State.
More run game. Fumble. Turnovers. Landon Collins.
That's a great script right there. So often you see fumbles when the defender is coming from behind, very aware, and a big mistake by a young player there. Only a sophomore, Ezekiel Elliott. That's a great job. Not giving up on the play. That's a great job by Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, watch him come in.
And now,
punch.
You have the ball in the plus territory at the 20-yard line. Or at the 25-yard line, wherever it may be.
Right in there.
Look for Alabama to try to get a shot here. They have momentum. Alabama always likes to take advantage of the momentum that was just recently given to them.
Well, that's Lane Kiffin's MO.
Look at the down.
Quarterback run, settling Blake Sims down. That's one thing when you're a quarterback. You like to get that first hit out of the way. And frankly, Blake has not thrown the ball well early in this game. Let him run the ball. Do the other facet of his game that he does so well. Get him feeling comfortable.
Yeah, because he was a former running back, so I'm sure he feels very, very comfortable. There comes Henry, though. Great blocking right there at the point of attack. Tremendous blocking right there. Wow. He's only a freshman, but tremendous blocking from the left side there. Cam Robinson, Quanjo.
And look at the formation, too. I mean, look who's in the backfield. Christian Jones is in the backfield. And he does the cut back across. We've always talked about Lane Kiffin and his ability to formation the defense. That's a wide receiver. He's standing where a fullback would be. He runs across and just tries to seal the backside. So he's basically out of the play. And this is just wide open. Look at the double team by Ryan Kelly. Ari Kwanjo, all-SEC performer. Look at him getting to the second level. That's outstanding job by Alabama and establishing the line of scrimmage.
We will take a short break. Alabama up 7-3. Back to the film room and your phone calls when we return.
I'm Dari Noka, and you're watching the SEC Network. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage.
It's pretty focused.
At least tonight he is.
I think he's pretty focused.
He's not recruited right now.
Yeah, he's not texting anymore right now.
Alabama bringing heat right here.
And the college coming off the edge. Devin Smith. And here's the thing about Devin Smith. If you look at Devin Smith, he's got 29 touchdowns in his career, Paul. 23 of them have been over 20 yards. He's their big play guy. He's averaging 26 yards a catch.
This is just a bad play by Washington, though. I mean, he takes a poor angle. He runs flat towards the sideline. He doesn't go, and you can't, and when you're playing a cover two, just like that, they're playing a cover two with a blitz. You cannot allow the defenders, the wide receivers to get behind you right there. That's exactly what Devin Smith did.
Let's grab a call. Let's try to grab a call here quickly. How about Matt in New York? Matt, thanks for the phone call. Good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Paul?
I'm well, thanks.
I'm thinking right now, Cardell Jones looks like a polished quarterback, and Alabama looks a little rattled. I saw Derrick Henry had a great run, but I think Ohio State, they got a chip on their shoulder right now, and they want to prove to the world that they're the real deal, and they deserve to be in this playoff.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting point, but on the other hand, Booger, they've had him a couple of times and let him go.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call him a polished quarterback just yet. I mean, he's 1 for 6. I mean, I don't know if I can say he's a second coming of Elway. Yeah, but he's making plays right now. He's gotten comfortable running the football up through the tackles, north and south, and right there, anytime he needs a big play, he's going to Devin Smith, as I stated earlier.
And right now, Ohio State's best offense has been self-inflicted mistakes by the Alabama defense. Right there, Washington running flat downhill, allowing Devin Smith to get behind him, and a missed tackle by Eddie Jackson early that resulted in a big Ezekiel Elliott run. Yeah,
I mean, you definitely expect quarterback draw here.
Some type of underneath with Evan Spencer. He had Spencer.
Let me ask you guys, here we are again with red zone inefficiencies. Looks like they're going to kick a field goal unless. What would you do here, Bob?
Kick the field goal. I mean, the one thing you don't want to do is get your team thinking from a negative aspect right now. Good drive, good improvisation plays by Cardell Jones. You just want to make sure you get points on the board. It's early. It's 7-6. If you're Nick Saban right now, you're telling your guys, hey, we've missed some tackles. Washington misplayed the deep ball, bad angle. But at the same time, it's 7-6 and we have the lead. If you're Ohio State, you're saying, hey, guys, we're just a couple of inches off from having 2 touchdowns. And so both teams feel pretty good right now.
We'll take a break here. Alabama seemingly has dodged a couple of bullets, at least in the red zone, looking familiar. 7-6. We'll be right back.
I'm Dari Noka, and you're watching the SEC Network. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage.
Corey Herm's still playing.
Yeah, she had you on the team this year.
All right, look at the top of the screen. You see Justin Fowler, another formation, and Amari Cooper in the backfield.
Good throw by Sid. Good throw.
Keep track of those red zone field goals, but it just not keeps going on.
Yeah, I think that statistic is going to be key. Who can score touchdowns in the red zones and not field goals? Right now, Ohio State has 2 trips to the red zone, 2 field goals. Alabama, they've been down there, they got a touchdown. Let's see if that trend
continues. After the Oregon game, I'm not sure the winner of this game really is won.
I mean, you look at it, though. Look at the formations. Look at what Lane Kiffin drew up right there. Had Amari Cooper in the backfield, had DeAndrew White in the slot, had Justin Fowler to the outside, tipping what the defense is doing from a man-zone concept, and then getting a nice manageable completion because they're not going to respect Justin Fowler when he's lined up at wide receiver.
I look familiar.
Great play call. And you'll notice what they faked. They faked the toss or the run to the left toward Cam Robinson, where they've been running all night long. And now you come out on the boot. Amari Cooper runs almost like a little corner route there to the pylon.
Yes. This is action. This is a great design. I mean, this is a great design. So we've talked all along from the first snap. We talked about getting Amari Cooper in a cut split. The first snap they came out, they're in a cut split. You can't double him from there. It's a difficult spot to be in when you're a defensive back, because he could release outside, he could release inside. He has a three-way go, is what you're saying. So what you're going to see him release up, collision, and then work to the corner. You're going to see Justin Fowler, once he motions across to the left, come back and sneak out the backside, so you give Blake Sims an easy completion, or you can allow him to do what he does best, and that's run the football.
And notice something. Notice the run action coming this way. A lot of run action. Everybody's coming this way. Why? Because they've been running left all night so far. So it's great play call, great design from Lane Kiffin. Here comes that run action, and the whole defense bites, Greg. And
Joshua Perry, the Will linebacker, the outstanding Will linebacker for Ohio State, number 37, did a nice job right there of actually diagnosing the play, but you just can't cover Amari Cooper with one individual. They're trying to double him. They want to. That's their goal, but you can't do it from a cut split. We can look at it from one more angle. We'll look at it from the back end here, just so you can see what these linebackers are responding to. Number 37 right here, the Will linebacker, Joshua Perry, does a nice job. Watch how fast he notices the play action. He's diagnoses it fine. There's nothing on the back end, though. Good job delivering it high and outside for a touchdown by Blake Sims.
Okay, the momentum has...
And I was just going there, P. Diddy. Remember we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
The momentum. And that momentum has now shifted. Uncle Mo is now wearing crimson.
Uncle Mo.
Uncle Mo is now wearing crimson right now. And it's going to be key. What does Urban Meyer do with Cordell Jones right now?
And in big games, there are very few things that are more important than a kickoff coverage unit, because you just scored or you're starting out the half. You're kicking off to the opposition, hitting them down inside the 12 is a real indicator of that momentum, like you said. Right. So a good job by Alabama continuing to squeeze the pressure and life out of Ohio State.
Perimeter run, another perimeter run by Ohio State, trying to get away from Trey DePriest, trying to get away from Dixon, those linebackers and defensive end, getting on the edge. You can clearly see the two game plans right now. For Ohio State, it is to run on the perimeter. For Alabama, it's to run behind Cam Robinson right now. Two distinctive game plans we're seeing from these two teams right now.
And we talked about Jalen Marshall earlier, how he'll catch some of those jet sweeps. So a good job of bottling him up, because when he has the ball, he can be explosive.
Cordell Jones is confused right now. He is confused.
He is very confused.
He is confused right now.
I'll tell you what, that's a grown man pass rush right there. That is a grown man pass rush. I mean, this was off the charts.
And again, it was set up by special teams.
This is unbelievable by Xavier Dixon. I mean, this is unbelievable. And we'll get to it in a minute, but wow. I mean, you can see the puller. Wow. He just manhandles Billy Price, the right guard. And that is just physical athleticism. And that's what the SEC has been for the longest time. For the last 10 years, the defensive linemen are the biggest difference. And Xavier Dixon showed right there how physical they can be and how they're going to dominate the game.
Yeah, it's also the one thing that was lacking the last couple of days. The physical defensive play from the defensive line and the line of scrimmage.
But what's changed since the missed tackles of the first few minutes to what we're seeing now?
Guys are tackling, and more importantly, the emotion. Sometimes when you're Alabama, the last couple of trips they've made to New Orleans, against Utah, against Oklahoma, hasn't been very good. So I think they came out early on, and you could tell, maybe not on their P's and Q's, missing tackles, but since Uncle Mo has came to their side, the tackles, the attention to detail. That's what Nick Saban and Kirby Smart are all about, the attention to details.
Alabama was pretty good against LSU in that building, though.
I wasn't going to bring that up. That's why. Hey, I tried to slip over there.
That wasn't the Sugar Bowl, though.
Yeah, exactly.
The BCS championship. Yeah. Let's check in with Phyllis from Mulder. By the way, in Friday morning's New York Times newspaper, only the most important newspaper in the country, Phyllis's picture, and she's featured in there. Phyllis, congratulations and good evening.
Paul, thank you so much. I'm telling you what, it's the greatest honor I believe I've ever had. I didn't even know that they were publishing it. I had no clue, and I come on Twitter and I saw
I did.
You tweeted the link, and then I went to it and read it, and I didn't have a clue.
Yeah, no, he's. I've been talking to him for about 3 weeks, Phyllis, and I don't know if the world is ready for you tomorrow morning when they see your picture in the New York. What do you think of the game so far?
Oh, my God. I love it. I love it. I mean, at first it looked like Bama was a little bit, squeaky and just not up to par, but I knew they'd pull it together. And I tell you what, I love the way y'all do this show. Booger, you and Greg, I just love
Hey, one other thing, Phyllis, not to go old school here, but I'm sure you shed some tears when your good friend Jameis got knocked out of the playoffs tonight.
Now, Paul, you know I didn't. You know I didn't cry. That's for babies. I don't cry.
No.
But I'm telling you, I really believe Bama is going to take this game. And I'm just so proud of him. And Derrick Henry, my God.
By the way, Derrick Henry's now gone ahead of Yeldon for the year in total yards.
No. He, Yeldon, and Cooper. And
Phyllis, save your energy, for there's still 3 more quarters to go.
Yeah, Phyllis, I want to talk to you in the fourth quarter, though. Please call back in the fourth quarter.
She loves you, though.
Hey, thanks, Phyllis, and
I will.
congratulations again, Phyllis. Phyllis featured tomorrow morning in the New York Times. I mean, Boog, have you ever been featured like 3 pictures?
No, I mean, Phyllis is definitely a celebrity, and I love when she calls in, especially during the Bowl-Finebaum film room. And more important, I love when she gets on McElroy, because McElroy's her favorite.
I was on SportsCenter early this morning, and Kevin Nagandi asked me that. How do you think Phyllis brought in the New Year? I said, with a picture of Colin Cowherd throwing poison darts. Cowherd, for those who don't remember, said after the Ole Miss game, the Saban dynasty is over.
It's over.
Well, let's take a look at that pass rush real quick. And, Booger, I want you to talk to us here from a defensive lineman's perspective. I drew up the offense's formation and the way the offense was going to be protecting this one. Walk us through Xavier Dixon's pass rush right here.
Well, I mean, you have Xavier Dixon right now. He's going to come off the ball. And when he comes off, to me, the first thing he's going to do, now you have to identify and recognize what you're getting. Normally, this right tackle would block him, but the first thing he sees is the right tackle. As you freeze it, Greg, this right tackle is going away. So now I'm going to get upfield and look for some work. This guard is going to come across and block him. And what I want you to notice is the counter move that we see from Xavier Dixon. He's going to go here and then back inside. We call it a counter. He gives them the okie doke, goes back inside, and just pure power right there.
That's called speed to power.
By the way, not that this matters because these games went back years, but this is the 7th consecutive quarter that Urban Meyer team has failed to score a touchdown against Alabama.
Paul, we've talked a lot about this team. Ooh, nice return here. We've talked a lot about this team, and we've talked about Nick Saban and his impact, and I genuinely feel like this could potentially be his best coaching job from an improvement standpoint. Where does this team, to you, rank amongst all of his teams?
I mean, it's hard to say this is like the most amazing story, but I think it is, if assuming this happens tonight and one more win, because I walked out of the spring game, we were down there, Greg. I mean, I wouldn't have given Blake Sims 10 cents to be the starter on New Year's night. I just didn't see it, and I don't think too many others did, but Lane Kiffin really contributed. Both hiring Kiffin, I think, was the biggest move of the year for Alabama.
Absolutely.
And I think we all have to admit, everyone thought it was going to be Jacob Coker's job, which is why you got to be very, very proud of Blake Sims and what he did, and his back was against the wall. And I heard you talk to him on your radio show, basically saying, you know what, Blake, I was one of the guys that said, you know what, this job wasn't going to be yours, and you proved me wrong, and I owe you an apology.
It's funny, Jay Barker, the quarterback of the '92 championship, said, "Where's my apology, Paul?" Thank goodness Greg hasn't asked for one either.
All right, so we see Amari Cooper in the slot.
Feeding him right now.
He is. That's a good tackle right there. That's a really nice tackle by the defender.
Yeah, Darren Lee right there. Good tackle. It's 3rd and manageable. It's 3rd and 3 right now. It's a great opportunity for Lane Kiffin to open his playbook. He can do anything he wants to do right now. 3rd and medium. You're very interested to see what he does. You can run it. You can throw short passes.
Well, you know what's interesting? The first quarter, and all of this is Cardell Jones. Alabama surrendered 123 yards, second the most since 2009. And what did Ohio State get out of it, Booger? Field goals.
Exactly. 6 points. Struggled in the red zone. Joey Bosa finally made a play. That's a name you hadn't seen, and he beat a tight end right there. I still think if you're going to run the football, so far in this game, Greg, I think we've seen if Alabama's going to run the football, they're going to run behind Cam Robinson. That's been the adjustment right now. Anytime they ran up the middle or ran right, it hadn't been as successful as when they go left.
And actually, this play, that last run, was actually a designed run to the left. A poor cut from T.J. Yeldon, frankly, where he tried to press it to the front side. He's got to go away. This is called this is inside zone with the slider. And it's a mistake by T.J. Yeldon. You can tell he maybe hasn't gotten as many reps in the last couple weeks, and he's been nursing an injury. We'll break it down in just a second. Delay a game, not going to make a difference when this guy's gone.
JK.
They probably took the delay a game because they need more room for him to down it. I mean, he could probably kick it out of the end zone if he wanted to.
People in the upper deck are nervous. Didn't really make any difference.
They caught it on the 5-yard line. They don't take that delay game. It's in the end zone, bud.
That's a mistake. Take a short break. 14-6. Bama is leading in the second quarter. Don't go anywhere.
Now our coverage.
But is it 4-down territory? Looking like the offense is staying out on the field.
Why not?
Paul, what you thinking here? 4-down territory all the way?
I would, but they did it again. I was fired as the offensive coordinator for the University of Tennessee.
That's right, you're right, yeah.
Uncle Mo, this is a clear ability to try to keep Uncle Mo on your side.
Uncle Mo is having a good day.
Oh, he is. And you know what? Physical running game up the middle toward the left is where Alabama's making their hay right now. Double team.
We've seen that move by Nick Saban before. Okay, we're not kicking a field goal here. Not with our field goal kicker.
Yeah.
It's a good way to lose momentum. Uncle Mo, good territory here, Booger.
Yeah.
Very good territory. And that is putting this game in a really precarious point.
That's the difference right there between Yeldon and Henry. Yeldon can make those cuts in the backfield. Subtle little cut right there to get outside. That's what he does best, where Henry is more of a downhill guy. So it looks like a little play, but that's a big play. Shows the athleticism of a guy like
Jim is in West Palm Beach. Go right ahead, Jim. Thanks for the call.
Hey, now do you think this game is over with?
What's that, Jim?
Do you think this game is now over?
What do you guys think?
I'm not willing to say that just yet. There's still a lot of time left, a lot of opportunities. If Alabama continues to establish the line of scrimmage, Ohio State has no chance.
Yeah, I would say, I'm not going to say it's over yet because it is early, but everything is going Alabama's way right now, even after a shaky start.
have to convert in the red zone.
Yeah, no, this is a dangerous moment in the game for Ohio State. We'll take a short break. Back with your calls, back with more commentary.
I'm Dory Noka, and you're watching the SEC Network. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage.
Welcome back to Finebaum Film Room, presented by Dr. Pepper.
We're back, and let's talk a little bit about what we just got through watching, the injury to Landon Collins. Booger, when did it happen? And what do you think it is?
Well, it looks like he hurt his arm, and it looked like it was his right arm. And I don't think it happened on that play because you can clearly see on the play in which that he gets hurt or he allegedly gets hurt, he was already carrying his arm and kind of favoring that arm because he hurt it the previous play or two before. And to me, that's a clear sign that it was hurt a couple of plays before, not on that play in which he was laying on the ground.
And you can see him actually here in this play. Here's Landon Collins right here. He doesn't really get hit or anything. It just doesn't look normal to me. It just looks like he's just a little bit banged up. Maybe he's got a little stinger. I'm not sure what it may be, but it's unusual. He's favoring it. It's his right arm, his right shoulder right here. You can see him looking down. him kind of holding it. And that's the play before he actually went down. So an interesting thing that we'll keep an eye on. So we just talked about that jet sweep hitting a counter off of it. That was the counter, but it was with the running back, not with the quarterback. So a lot of different ways, a lot of different variations to show things to the defense. And honestly, I like what Tom Herman's doing. I think they need to go a little bit more downhill with the quarterback. He's such a big body bug. Spread him out and run the quarterback up the middle. I think it's going to be really hard trying to do trickeration and things like that.
He's a big body, but he's not the greatest runner. He's not the biggest athlete.
No, absolutely not.
From a change of direction guy.
How important is this play coming up? Because we've talked about it too much. First of all, we have in terms of whether they can get in or get a first down.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is 4-down territory. I mean, I understand, but you get down here again, you almost feel like taking a field goal is a loss. I mean,
well, it is. I mean, they've been in the red zone so far and come up with field goals. If they kick a field goal here and it's 21-9, you still don't think that they are really in this ballgame. They need a touchdown to not only give their defense, give their team. Urban Meyer needs this because, I said again, his last couple of times against Kirby Smart, they've only scored 19 points. It's about 9.5 points a game. He needs to be able to put the football in.
About Saban going for it a minute ago.
I don't think he's effective. He understands Nick Saban is going to play aggressively. So he's got to play aggressively also. Right. So this may be 4-down territory.
Their center hurt on the last play as well. Got rolled there a little bit. Looks like an ankle or a knee or what it may be. So watch the snap here. They were getting a couple reps on the sideline. It's a little bit different when A'Shawn Robinson's lined over the top of you. Could be a bad snap. We'll keep an eye on it here.
There we go. One of the big moments in the game.
Alabama's doing what they do best. 3-on-2 coverage at the top of the screen.
There it is. The jet sweep action with the counter, with the running back hitting it right downhill. That's a nice job of Ezekiel Elliott getting behind his pads and delivering the blow and carrying the pile into the end zone.
Looking for talking about the red zone for a while. Let's talk to Brian in Milford. What's going on, Brian?
Hello?
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. So I was wondering, you guys talk a lot about the Ohio State quarterback, how he needs to step up and run it. But, I mean, he's a third-string quarterback. You put the third-string quarterback for Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, we know all that, but you know, he wasn't always a third-string quarterback.
Oh, he wasn't. Okay, I'm not a big Alabama fan. Just watching the game, I just heard you talking about how, he needs to step up and run it, but just wondering how you guys...
Well, he looked pretty good on that possession, Bugger.
Cardinal did fine.
Yeah,
he did a good job on the 3rd and long, managing and hitting Jalen Marshall. He's done a nice job on that last drive. They need to continue to try to get him feeling comfortable. I think he's most comfortable throwing the ball down the field.
He settled down. The most important thing, he settled down. He's thrown the pick, which was absolutely an awful decision.
A bad decision.
He got fooled, but he settled down. And the reason he settled down, he's not getting any pass rush. Right. Let's just continue to watch whether Kirby Smart and Nick Saban decide to bring some heat. Because right now, he's settled down, no pass rush. He's comfortable in the pocket. And you don't want to get a young quarterback comfortable in the pocket because, as we can see, he's got talent.
Oh, yeah.
And he's completing the football down the field.
Ryan is next in New York. Ryan, good evening.
Hey, Paul, huge fan. Just wanted to give you a call. I want to talk about J.K. Scott. Just incredible punting performance early. Averaging almost 60 yards a punt over 3 punts. That first punt for 70, I think, really flipped this game when you think about it. Really buried Ohio State. I mean, the game score could be totally different right now had that not occurred.
Hard to financially disagree with.
No, because J.K. Scott, his leg has been, it's unbelievable. And he changes the field position. Right. It's a difference when you have to put your offense on the field and go 50 yards as opposed to going 80 yards, which he can change. And he can flip the field position. Very underrated weapon that Alabama has in him.
I really, you think about it, over the course of the season, J.K. Scott has been one of Alabama's most consistent performers. Amari Cooper, of course, is probably your team MVP. And probably, I mean, he better have been. I don't know if he was.
He came in second to Heisman.
Okay, he is. He's phenomenal. Blake Sims has been outstanding. A lot of the guys have played really consistent football. But I will say this. J.K. Scott consistently putting the opponent inside the 20, changing and flipping field position. And when you have to drive the length of the field against Alabama's defense, not a lot of people can do it. You have to be manageable. You have to be able to keep yourself in similar situations. You have to make some big plays. Not a lot of people can sustain drives against them.
Jumbo is in Tuscaloosa. Jumbo, good evening.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Hey, this question is for Greg. Greg, I know you ran the offense when you were there. How come we do not run more trick plays than what we do as far as double reverses or reverses and stuff like that?
I'll tell you why. Actually, I just recently called the Foster Farms Bowl a few nights ago. And I spent some time sitting down with David Shaw. And I believe Alabama coach Nick Saban probably has the same mindset. He doesn't like to trick people. He likes to beat them. So I understand doing those trick plays. It's fun for the kids. I'm sure there's probably one or two dialed up on Lane Kiffin's game plan. I'd be surprised, considering the way this game is going, if they got to it. Usually those are to flip momentum, change the way things are going, change the outcome. Right now, Alabama's doing what they want offensively. I wouldn't expect to see anything right now unless Ohio State does, in fact, score again and make it a lot more interesting. When you have the talent that Alabama has, they have a lot of talent, and it's not to say that teams that run trick plays don't, because they absolutely do. We look at TCU started the game with a trick play the other night, and it was absolutely fantastic against Ole Miss, have talent all over the board. But when you want to rely on things you can control, when you want to rely on things that are manageable and understandable, the offensive line of the quarterback in the running game, that's what you want to see if you're an Alabama fan. That's what Nick Saban wants to see.
Well, and to your point, trick plays try to trick people. When you line up with your fundamentals and your techniques, those you can travel with, those you can teach. It's hard to win off trickeration. It's hard to win off tricking people.
And I'll tell you the truth, it's not real demoralizing when you get beat by a trick play. But when you're getting beat at the line of scrimmage and they're running it down your throat, that is demoralizing for a defense and for the opposition.
And Landon Collins coming out from the locker room probably went in to get an X-ray. His right arm was hanging. I'm sure they want to check and make sure nothing was broken, nothing was dislocated. He's coming back, returning to the sideline. See if he comes back in the game when Alabama comes on defense. Because he's the key to the defense. I think he's the Vinny Sunseri of this defense, the guy that's going to line up and keep everybody in position. The quarterback of the defense, always going to be in the right position.
No question. Absolutely. And he filled in admirably for Vinny Sunseri a year ago when Vinny went down with a torn ACL. You see it, short passes, trying to get Blake Sims more comfortable through the air. Right there, a really good job by Ohio State bottling it up, not allowing DeAndre White to get anything extra.
Booger, do you feel Uncle Mo shifting a little bit?
Well, not really shifting. I think that both teams have settled down right now. It was going back and forth early. Early was with Ohio State, then it went to Alabama. Now it's kind of settled down, and which team executes their game plan the best is probably going to be the team that's going to come out, especially in this half with the lead and going to win the game. Surprising play call there. 3rd and 3. You've been running the football pretty well. Little play action right there, and then a drop ball by DeAndre White. This could be I'm not going to say a critical moment, but it's 21-13. Ohio State just scored. You come back out. Now you punt it back to them. It's 1:41 left in the game.
Alabama had so much momentum.
Exactly.
That's just one you got to look at. A good throw by Blake Sims. He had a guy in his face. He retreated, which is what you're taught to do. Delivered a nice, accurate throw on the sideline. DeAndre White, the senior, he's just got to make a play.
We talked about Scott.
Can J.K. Scott bail him out with a big punt here? Flip field position. Look at that.
Was that a serious question, brother?
He bailed him out. I mean, that's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, here he is punting from almost his own end zone.
There was a vulnerable situation there for Alabama.
Right.
A bad punt.
Now it's under 2 minutes left, and Ohio State has to go 80 yards. You feel better about your defense if you're Nick Saban and Kirby Smart right now, defending 80 yards as opposed to defending 50 or 55.
One of my very good friends, I was with the Cincinnati Bengals last year, Kevin Huber, a Pro Bowl punter. He is outstanding. He's great. He's a left-footed kicker, can really drive the football. I've never seen anyone that kicks the ball as far as this guy, or as well as this guy. And I've been around Pro Bowlers, and this guy's as good as I've ever seen. He would be on a Pro Bowl right now in the NFL if he was, in fact, eligible to be drafted on one of those two teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little early.
See what Cardell has here.
Oh, he's throwing the football. Still in rhythm.
Getting confident.
No pass rush. He's as comfortable in the pocket as I've seen him all night.
What's going on the outside?
Well,
yeah.
And if their only quality bowl win is against a third-string quarterback.
Well, Andrew, let me say this.
As the best conference.
I think it's been a really bad bowl season for the SEC, but tonight is what it's all about. And I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything that happened yesterday. I thought it was a disastrous day for the Mississippi schools. But if Alabama beats Ohio State, forget the third-string quarterback. That's easy to say, but this is also one of the top 4 teams in the country according to the playoff committee. So I don't think you can quite marginalize your point to that extent. But the bigger question is if Alabama loses tonight. But right now they're up 21-13.
The clean pocket. He's just sitting back there, Paul. He's continuing. He's 12 for his last 17. He just continues to sit back there.
Half. It's not identical, but Alabama looked really bad at the end of the second quarter against Auburn. This has happened a couple of times. I'm not sure what the explanation is because they're different type of games. But Alabama really had this game in hand, and it's not slipping away, but they're certainly making it more interesting.
You see the umpire holding play right there, allowing Alabama to substitute.
Cardell is putting himself quite well.
Well, he understands he's a bigger guy. He knows I can't run around the corner like we've seen Nick Marshall and some of the other quarterbacks, so he's hitting downhill.
Sprint right rub right there. By Ohio State, Alabama actually goes with a zone principle defensively, which is exactly what you want against that offensive play. A good job by Kirby Smart recognizing the formation and getting them the correct defensive call.
Kirby better get some
pass. On the other hand, has Alabama put themselves in this situation by just forgetting about Derrick Henry in the game earlier? I mean, he was pounding it, and now they played around, and here's Ohio State in a position to make this almost an even game at half. Let's see what happens.
The timeout by Ohio State right there. That could prove costly if, in fact, Cardale Jones gets sacked right here. That would force their hand a little bit. They'd have to throw it into the end zone. This is a good job right here of him escaping north and south. Poor tackling. Really poor tackling by Nick Perry, but you see it. A good job. He's starting to get in a rhythm. He's starting to get going. He's a streaky passer. He can throw it. And he also is making some plays with the
Seth is in Missouri. Go right ahead, Seth.
Hey, I was just wondering if Urban Meyer loses tonight to the Crimson Tide, do you think it kind of puts an end to the whole debate over who's the best coach? Or
well, let me jump in here quickly. Right now, there isn't much debate. Saban is considered the best coach in the game. Urban, in my book, is number 2. So there's no shame in losing to Nick Saban. Pretty much everyone does.
Here's a little trickeration pass. That's a great pass.
I think he got the toe down.
Put down.
Little trickeration. Hey, when it works, it's a great thing.
And that's a guy you got to watch out for. Michael Thomas, big number 3 wide receiver. He's 6'3", 200. He's a guy that can take it the distance every time you throw him the football. Caught several slants, bursted, and scored against a lot of competition this year. Let's see if he gets that foot down.
I think he did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because
that looks good.
Because his heel was up. I think his heel is up. Let's see from this angle. Heel stayed up.
That's an outstanding catch.
I see a little shadow under there. Yeah, it's just amazing.
That's a touchdown. That's a really, really good catch.
Alabama had a 21-6 lead, and here we are at the end of the half. Half ending very similarly to the Iron Bowl.
2 touchdowns at the end of this half really changed the whole face of the Sugar Bowl right now. Okay?
I mean, we were both we were all thinking that Alabama was a couple of plays away from putting it, and there was a third down play, I remember, on Ohio State, Alabama.
And the game has changed because Cordell Jones has gotten comfortable.
Right.
And Urban Meyer made the adjustment, okay? The running game was struggling going inside. I'm going to now allow Cordell Jones to throw the football, and Alabama is not getting any individual one-on-one pass rush. And you see this young man getting very, very comfortable, and they just beat Cyrus Jones right there. Great one-on-one play, great throw, great catch. The adjustment has been made by Ohio State. Their quarterback has gotten comfortable. When is Alabama going to make the adjustment and put some pressure on this young man? That's been the turning point from 21-6 to now going from an extra point to being 21-20. No pass rush and great throws from Cordell Jones.
He has made some really, really good throws. It all goes back to that drop by DeAndre White. When you drop the ball on third down, people can cash in. If he catches that, they extend the drive. They might have the opportunity to even
see what
themselves.
the mood in Alabama is right now. Jim is in Tuscaloosa. What's going on, Jim?
You know, Paul, I don't speak for the mood of anybody else. I just speak for my own mood. And, I don't sugarcoat either. I don't care what it's about. I don't think you do anybody a good service by sugarcoating when you just need to tell it like it is. That's what I've always done. That's always what I try to do. I think they stink tonight. I think they look bad. I think Oregon outclasses them and looks twice as good as Alabama. Stronger team. I don't see any way, unless a miracle happens again, for Alabama, if they win tonight, to beat Oregon. But let's face it, Alabama's D is horrible. They don't tackle. They miss tackles. All you got to do, Mine's a smart guy. All you got to do is...
Jim, you do know we're playing the national semifinal of college football right here.
Well, you can laugh if you want to, Booger, but I'm just telling it like it is. All you got to do is throw the ball over 20 yards down the field, and Alabama's pass defense is horrible.
Well, you know what, Jim? I'll agree with you. The pass defense has been horrible for a couple of reasons. No pass rush, and there Cyrus Jones got beat one-on-one. So I will agree. I'm not going to overreact, though, Jim, and say that they can't win next week.
Overreact?
Yes.
This has been going on all year.
Yeah, but
Alabama barely escaped in overtime against LSU, but barely escaped against Auburn.
Jim, we are not talking about an 8-5 team here. We're talking about the #1 team in the country that still leads. That still leads at halftime in the national semifinal.
Best doesn't mean best anymore as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing best. There's nothing best. Alabama's got a strong team. We know that, but they've also got a deficient team.
Listen, the stats support what you're saying, but what would satisfy you, Jim?
To take a little, I don't know what. There's nothing that can satisfy me now because Alabama just literally doesn't have what they need to have. Yet they keep winning.
And what do they need to have? They're still.
If you keep winning, you can't complain. I'm just saying though. Every game they play like this and barely get away and win. So, what can I say about that?
Jim, this is Alabama football, though. Greg knows exactly what I'm talking about. He lived it. He won a national championship.
Greg played on a team that never came this close to being this deficient. Never. That's the difference.
They were in trouble in the Auburn game, if I remember. But I bet Greg does, too.
Well,
he played on a much better team than this team, Paul.
Look, there's reason to overreact, sure. Alabama, especially in the second quarter, has not looked good. If I'm Ohio State, frankly, I'm feeling great about the way things have gone in the first half. I've turned it over twice. I'm down 1 point. I'm moving the football. Everything seems to be working. And if I'm Alabama, I'm just happy right now to have the lead because I'm getting outplayed. Now, look, it's a 60-minute game. We've seen half of it. There's no reason to sit here and start saying, oh, well, Alabama's clearly flawed. They clearly have issues. Right. There's no reason to press the panic button. We said the same thing in the Auburn game when people were saying, pull Blake Sims.
At halftime of the Auburn game, Alabama was on the ropes.
Yeah. It was ugly.
Leaning on the ropes hard.
And then the first drive of the second half, Blake Sims throws an interception. So look, these guys are battle tested, all right? They are battle tested. They've been in big games. A lot of these guys, the seniors in particular, have been a part of 2 national championship teams. They know what it's like to come back. They know what it's like to rebound. So all the fans out there need to quit pressing the panic button. They're winning by a point. Granted, they've gotten outplayed, but there's plenty of time to be able to solve the issues. And Nick Saban, Kirby Smart.
Is that okay with you, Jim?
They'll do a good job.
I don't have a panic button, Greg. I'm just telling it like it is. Alabama doesn't play with authority anymore. They're lucky as they can be to be where they are tonight, having the same thing happen against LSU and they escaped that death trap. They escaped the Auburn death trap. and they're having
They didn't escape. Blake Sims led them all the way down the field.
I'm not talking about Blake Sims, Paul. I'm talking about the horrible defense. That's the area they're so weak in.
Well,
This
Jim,
horrible defense.
here's the thing I'll say, Jim. They lead the country in run defense, and that's been a staple of a Nick Saban team ever since he's been
What are
there.
you talking about? I don't care what they did in last night. This tonight we're talking about.
Jim, they
Every other
Jim,
game
my
they've done
point
this
is they have
before.
not lost. I mean, you're talking like this game is over. Alabama is leading the football
They'll
game.
probably win the game. I'm just telling those are facts. That Alabama's not a dominant team. Never have been this year.
Why do they
and
have to
don't
be a
look
dominant
strong to
team?
me.
The name of the game is to win, Jim.
I guess y'all don't want my comment. I mean, it's all right for me to comment the way I do it.
Yeah,
It's just
no,
sugarcoating all
No,
that.
we're just trying to calm you down. It's okay. You can feel however you want to feel.
No, hey, Greg, I'm not panicking. I don't panic. I don't care what they do if they want to lose, but I'm just telling you the quality is not there as it should be. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Well, listen, your opinion is your opinion. We're just simply countering it, Jim.
Yeah, I know that, Paul. But you know, my opinion is usually dead on, and you know that too. You know that.
Well, no, listen, I understand. I mean, there is frustration now because this game was 21-6, now it's 21-20. If it ended right now, Alabama would go play Oregon for the national championship. But
well, I'm giving Booger a real laugh tonight. He's just laughing his tail off, isn't he?
No, Jim, and I understand how you feel, but I also understand it's football, and it's a way that sometimes we overreact.
Hey, Booger, this is my first rodeo, so please excuse me.
Jim, this is not your first rodeo. But Jim, calm down. Let's relax. We have a half to play, and let's see if this Alabama defense. We saw the same Alabama defense against Auburn looked bad, but then they came back and they played better in the second half. I think we're going to see the adjustments being made, and I think the number one adjustments that are going to be made.
One thing Paul can tell you after I hang up, right, Paul?
What's that, Jim?
I gave them their money's worth, didn't I?
No, well, that's why we pay you so much. Thank you, Jim.
And what do you think they're doing, Bug? What are they coming out with in the second half?
If you're Alabama, I think you come out and do what Alabama always does, is try to establish the run game and get Amari Cooper the football. I'm more concerned about them defense. They got 21 points on the board. I'm concerned about how they're letting Cardale Jones just sit in the pocket. That has to change. If that doesn't change, if he has a clean pocket, Alabama can't win they can't win the ball game in the second half if he's comfortable and he has a clean pocket, because he's proving right now on the last couple of drives he can lead them down the field.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he's proven that.
To Finebaum Film Room, presented by Dr. Pepper.
We welcome you back to the film room. We're at the halftime. Again, a reminder, this is not the actual Sugar Bowl broadcast. This is an alternate channel, so to speak, not the SEC network, but what we're doing is giving commentary. The game is on ESPN. And speaking of the game, let's get inside a little bit more, Greg.
Well, to me, it comes down to third downs defensively. Alabama has almost squeezed the life out of the Ohio State Buckeyes there. They had them bottled up for a quarter and a half, with the exception of the missed tackles by Eddie Jackson and the long run that ensued. So they have to do a better job attacking Cardale Jones. This is a young player. When you're a young player early in your development, Ohio State is going to probably use some max protections where they're not really that concerned with getting guys out in the routes. They're more concerned about making Cardale Jones feel comfortable. You respond to that by blitzing him from all directions, especially blitzes from outside the tackles. Ohio State is a heavy slide protection team where they take all five guys, they move in one direction and slide to pick up the widest defender. If you blitz outside of those defenders, you could have some success. Expect Alabama to pick up the pace and try to dictate defensively, because they've been passive so far, and they're better than that. They're better than the way they've played on third down so far.
What about it?
Well, I think that's the way they have to play right now, because he's very comfortable in the pocket. They have to get this young man in Cardale Jones, who we saw early in the game, the moment might have been just too big for him. Yeah. Overthrown. I think he started out one for his first six. Now he's settled down, and he's outplaying Blake Sims right now. And because Alabama's given up, Ezekiel Elliott's over 100 yards. Amari Cooper's at 39 yards. Blake Sims is only thrown for 60 yards. Right now, the Ohio State offense is dictating the game. And going into this matchup, we didn't think that was possible. They have to figure out a way, how can the Alabama defense dictate to Cardale Jones and to the Ohio State offense? And I think it all starts, as Greg said, on third down and getting this young man uncomfortable.
Winner of this game gets Oregon, which just destroyed the defending champ, Florida State. You can look at that. Look at some of the numbers. They're just amazing showing for Mariota. My question to both of you, we don't know who's going to win the Alabama-Ohio State game, but does it matter? Can either one of these teams handle Oregon in the national championship game?
I think they can. I mean, styles make fights. I mean, that's what we've always talked about. And the Florida State Seminoles definitely didn't have the right style to go against the Oregon Tigers. But you tell me that the defense that Alabama plays or the playmaking ability of Ohio State, I honestly think defense wins championships, and I think Alabama has the best defense in the country, the best run defense in the country, and I think that will bode well going against this Oregon attack. But both of these teams have got issues right now tonight. I understand January the 12th is coming, but tonight they have their hands full with each other tonight. But I think when that game comes, we all can understand it's football. Whoever executes the best, we can be prisoner of the moment. Oregon is the greatest thing we've ever seen. Let's not become prisoners of the moment. Let's understand they played a Florida State team, and they piled on at the end. That game will be decided on January the 12th. But tonight, let's let Ohio State and Alabama, because whichever team wins this game, I promise you, they will give Oregon competition.
And although that Florida State team was sitting at 13-0, they were clearly flawed. I mean, they were a very flawed football team. They turned the ball over a lot. Jameis threw a ton of picks, a ton of interceptions. They had to take chances. The offensive line was a work in progress for a better part of the season. That Florida State team was not the greatest team ever assembled. So, yes, Oregon, an opportunistic defense, a team that can take the football and score and go in the other direction. They made plays today. And that, if you're going to be Ohio State and or Alabama, you can't turn the ball over and give them the short field.
Let's grab a couple more calls here. Tommy is in New York. Thank you, Tommy. Good evening.
Oh, hey, guys. How's it going?
Great, thanks.
Just calling to say that no matter who wins this game, whether it's Ohio State or Bama, that none of them even belongs on the same football field as that team that beat Florida State tonight. Oregon was the best team in the country, and they've shown that they should have been ranked #1 going into this college playoff.
Well, I think that's going to be the narrative coming out of here. We just got through saying it's not the reality, but it's what people are going to think. And I think it's possible that Oregon could actually be favored. Alabama has not been an underdog since the 2009 championship. That's
Were you quarterback in that team?
I was the quarterback.
No wonder they won it all.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
They were never favored. The second half about to start. So Ohio State gets the ball first. Obviously, we're watching the kickoff here.
7 for 10 for Ohio State on third down that we just saw in the graph.
Exactly.
Alabama prides himself on forcing you to convert less than 30%. Let's see if they right the ship in the second half.
And also, let's see how quick they start to heat this young man up. I got to think they're not going to allow him to sit back there with a 4-man or a 3-man rush. They're going to heat him up, bringing 5 and 6 guys, which Alabama doesn't like to do, but they don't have any. And the reason they have to do it is because they don't have any individual guys that can win one-on-one matchups like a Joey Bosa.
And honestly, Alabama, if you look back at Nick Saban's teams when they had Dante Hightower, when they had Rolando McClain, when they had C.J. Mosley, they were bringing guys from everywhere. We haven't seen as much of it.
That's the frustration we're heard Jim and other callers.
Sure.
They're trying to compare this to 09, 10, 11.
It's been a little bit more basic approach, and that's been the story so far this game. Very basic defensive calls. There's Michael Thomas, that on the slant. That's his best route. He's a big body. A good job. The bad throw right there by Cardell Jones behind him, but a good job of Thomas making the catch.
Guys, just a little side note. How bad is this Alabama defense playing? They gave up 348 yards in the first half. It's the second most they've given up all year. First was Auburn.
This to me there are some similarities other than the fact we're all here together.
There's Thomas again on the slant. That's his best route. They're going to continue.
This guy's a third-string quarterback at Ohio State.
Well, he's a third-string quarterback at Ohio State, but he has talent. Yeah. We all know that. Now, the key is how can you start to confuse him and make him do what he doesn't like to do.
And it's not like he's on a short week either. I mean, he's had plenty of repetitions with the first team. So he has approached this game with the experience, given the way that he's had 15 bowl practices, to work against those ones. He looks very comfortable.
Landon Collins back on the field, by the way. His right arm looks to be pretty good. He's back on the field, just in case you guys didn't check that.
That was my next question.
Yeah, he's back on the field.
So is the center for Ohio State, number 50. Left early in the game.
They better quickly, don't they?
Got his ankle wrapped up. It looks like he's ready.
Good medicine.
It's ticket to the national championship here. Urban looks like he's having some fun.
There's pressure from down here. Look, they look back to the sideline and see what Kirby Smart does. He want to keep it on? Still going to be a blitz from down here. Number 47, Dixon's going to be coming.
There it is.
Great play by Cyrus Jones. That's a nice throw by Cardale Jones.
Oh, Lord.
That was a really good throw. Hit the guy in stride. Cyrus Jones getting that left hand involved. Really nice job. And look, this is what they're going to do. They're going to play a little more aggressive, press at the line of scrimmage, force them to make these difficult throws. These are low percentage throws for college quarterbacks. Force them, get up in the face of the wide receivers and make them beat you off the press coverage.
And notice what we saw last play? Brady Priest and Dixon both blitz off the edge. So you had 5 guys coming there. Will they bring a 6th guy? Because they still didn't get to him with 5. Will they bring a 6th guy?
That is a hit.
My goodness.
Helmet on the field.
Traded Priest gets all the headlines. I'm not so sure Reggie Ratliff isn't the best linebacker on this football
He's definitely the most athletic. I think.
He's the most talented, in my opinion. I think he hits like a ton of bricks. He's an intimidator. He does a good job recognizing and diagnosing the fronts. He reacts, and he can play sideline to sideline. He's been a really, really big part of this defense this year.
Another big play coming up.
Big down for the Alabama defense. What does Nick Saban and Kirby Smart do? Are they going to sit back, or are they going to bring pressure? I think there's our answer. Here comes pressure. 5-man rush.
And the touchdown right there. Devin Smith.
All he does is catch touchdowns and play. He's over 20 yards.
Eddie Jackson falling down. They bring the 5-man pressure, man-to-man on the outside. You just have to keep your feet.
I was asking you gentlemen the question earlier, is it over?
It's a long
Not over.
No, I don't think.
You've come a long way from that question. Man. And we'll continue with your phone calls, assuming that anyone in Alabama can still dial a number.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage.
We have found Derrick Henry.
They need to find him a little bit more. I mean, this guy is just a momentum runner.
Derrick, how was dinner at Galatoire's?
and notice where he went. To the left-hand side. Cam Robinson, number 74, leading, pulling out there. You got Fowler, Robinson. That's been the money side, the money play all night to run left. Let's see if they come back to that consistently from an offensive standpoint. And at some point, has anybody seen Amari Cooper?
He got Derrick's table.
and this play that they just ran was the first play that they scored on against Auburn. Toss crack. It's a good one. Let's see if they come back to it at some point. Dawson Fowler, the senior, the do-it-all guy. Nudie from Mobile, Alabama. He's really been a good player, kind of an unsung hero type for Alabama. Does the dirty work, runs the fullback work, does some tailback stuff. He's really been a guy over the 5 years he's been in Tuscaloosa that has had an impact on the program, and a lot of the guys really respect him for that. Henry right there, bottled up.
Ohio State's outscored Alabama 21-0.
And I want to go back real quick to this last play. This will just take a second. I want you to look at this green grass for Blake Sims. Why doesn't he run the football? I mean, this is a touchdown, or at least a big play. Pull the football, Blake, and go north and south. I think that's a misread if that was, in fact, a zone read concept.
Here we go again, Booger. Another one of those plays. Alabama cannot afford right now.
They just flipped the formation. That's all they did.
No, call timeout. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, they should have called timeout.
Big six.
Big six.
That's the first pick six against Alabama since, I believe, 2008, 2007. So we'll have to double check on that. That's a bad mistake by Blake Sims.
That's 28 unanswered. With the extra point here.
Like deja vu all over again.
Well, it's just a bad play by Blake Sims. You could tell he was a little confused. Play clock running down. Greg, you said he called timeout. They tried to flip the formation. Lane Kiffin's trying to explain to him right there, if you didn't feel comfortable, take the timeout. And it was clear he didn't feel comfortable with what he was doing there.
And we'll draw it up here in just a second exactly what happened. A good call by Luke Fickell and Chris Ash defensively to be able to make Blake Sims uncomfortable. This is just a little zone blitz. Nothing to think about. We'll tease it here, Paul. We'll do it after the break. What do you think?
We'll take a short break and give everybody in Alabama a chance to calm down before we go to Jim from Tuscaloosa.
I'm Dari Noka, and you're watching the SEC Network. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage.
Well, Mick Saban hopefully is telling his team, hey, Baylor blew a game against Michigan State, but everything has gone against Alabama right now. We were about to write this game off 2 hours ago. Where are you at the moment, Booger?
Well, I'm just looking for the Alabama offense. And we talked about Blake Sims and Amari Cooper and his Alabama offense and Lane Kiffin all year. We've given them high praise. Well, right now, they need all those guys to show up. They need this offense to step up and produce a big play. You keep talking about it. They got Derrick Henry involved a second ago, but where's Amari Cooper? Can Blake Sims settle down the way he did against the Auburn Tigers after throwing 3 interceptions? And Uncle Mo and Grandpa Mo and Auntie Mo, they're all on the Ohio State side.
And right now, I mean, the pressure, Blake Sims has survived pressure a couple of times this year. He did at Ole Miss. He has against Arkansas, LSU, and obviously against Auburn. But he has more pressure on him right now than he has ever felt because this game is in his hands, and another mistake.
But after adversity, he's responded well in the past. Now, we have to kind of, it's a testament to him being able to get over the hump against Auburn in particular. Second half start was just abysmal. It was not good.
That game was at home, though.
It is, and the back's against the ropes right now. Let's see how he responds. Let's see if they get back to playing good quality Alabama football by establishing the line of scrimmage, some nice, quick, easy completions to make them feel good again.
And I'll tell you something that Ohio State's doing right now. They realize that Amari Cooper needs to get involved. They're keeping 2 safeties back, 2 safeties deep. They're making sure they didn't.
Was Lane Kiffin the intended receiver there?
And actually, you look at it, Amari Cooper actually gave up on this throw. This is a bad job by Amari Cooper. Blake Sims does a nice job. They're trying to work a 2-on-1 stretch right here, and he's supposed to be going right down the field for a possible touchdown, and now he gives up on it. He just stands there, and I mean, you can't. You're throwing your quarterback under the bus right there.
A lot of frustration building on the Alabama sideline and on that line. Let's see what happens.
That's a nice throw.
We started that for about half the Ohio State lineup.
Well, you know where they're going right now. I mean, when in doubt, you get the ball to your playmakers. That's Cooper, that's Henry, and allow those guys to make plays. And I think Lane Kiffin realizes that, so you're going to see his best creative formations right now to get Amari Cooper the football and to try to give Blake Sims some throws.
Why is he now realizing?
And you remember that out and up that Alabama threw for a touchdown against Auburn? That was the out and curl. So all the things tying together, one game plan to the next. A good job by Lane Kiffin, getting a good, nice, high percentage throw, and getting, like what you said, his best player on the field back in a row.
Screen play. There's Henry.
There's Henry again.
Man, he is just so tough. And he's so much faster than people realize. I mean,
that screen play is a tremendous play.
And who'd they go at?
They went right at Joey Bosa.
They went right at Joey Bosa.
Notice on this play, here's Joey Bosa right here. They're going to use his momentum to influence and allow him to come upfield. And right underneath this guy here goes up, and Derrick Henry comes inside, and now he's got blockers in front. But they use Joey Bosa's aggressiveness against him and actually gain a block.
Yeah, a little pop screen right there. A nice job of Derrick Henry collisioning him and making a play.
Now you have blockers in front, 2 offensive linemen in front. Great play, but Two great play calls back-to-back by Lane Kiffin.
What about 2 hours since Alabama had a good play?
Get a block, Blake. There you go. Just get in his way. Just get in his way.
Trying to make up for that pick six very quickly. We just saw Kaylee Hartog on the screen.
Well, they need to.
This is a good cut right here. And he's been working the backside cut, the backdoor cut a lot. I'm not sure if that was an initial game plan. The running back coach, Burton Burns, he teaches the running backs to read a defender. You've seen Yeldon work back to the backside several times. There's Joshua Perry. He takes a big Leon Brown into the thigh, pushes him down, unaffected completely, makes the tackle. That guy's a big-time football player. You're going to be hearing his name in the NFL draft in the very, very near future.
Doesn't it speak to the resiliency of a Nick Saban team?
It does.
I mean, we're in here. Jim in Tuscaloosa, he's panicking. I'm sure Phyllis is going crazy right now. All they did was settle down, Paul, and come back and put together a methodical drive. Can they finish it off?
They're working on it. But I think the important thing was the speed of this drive.
The quick answer.
Yeah, they can't waste a lot of time there after that pick six.
You know, run the football here. You're at the 5-yard line. You've been doing the misdirection. You try to sneak Vogler out into the flat. Just run the football. No reason to get cute. You're kind of pounding them. You see some defenders with hands on their hips. Actually, when I look at the defense, every single defender has their hands on their hips.
Big guys.
Big guys.
Yeah, getting winded. What are you talking about?
So run the football. You're winning up front. You got Justin Fowler in now at the running back position. Now, definitely run the football. Let the big guy pound.
Probably quarterback draw here. Fowler, there you go. You can see it coming.
Nice job. Yeah, because
you can see it coming. You can see it coming, and we'll definitely run that one back. You can see it coming. No true tailback in the backfield. Fowler was the only back there. So if any run they were going to run, they were going to run a quarterback draw with a lead blocker. Great design here by Lane Kiffin.
And you can see it right here. Justin Fowler is going to lead up through the hole. It's actually like a little bit of a quarterback counter. When you see Blake Sims, he starts to his left, runs back to the right. You see the pullers right there, sealing it. Right there, what you're taught to do as a fullback, run through color. It's exactly what Justin Fowler's doing right there. He's cleaning it up because Ari Kouandjo doesn't have it 100% sealed. Blake Sims breaks a tackle, falls forward into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama, strike up the band.
Mike is in Buffalo. Good evening, Mike. Thank you for the phone call.
Yeah, hey, how you guys doing? Not too good. Me neither. Listen, you guys are giving this Lane Kiffin all the credit. If it wasn't for Lane Kiffin, this game would be a blowout already. He cannot run the football. He can't stop himself from throwing the ball. Sims is not. McElroy, you know it yourself. What's Alabama football? You got superstar running backs. You run.
Well, you got the best receiver in the country, too. Hold on a second there.
And right there, though, you see they ran the football, but they utilized Blake Sims's athleticism. It was a really good play call right there. I loved it because when you go back and you look at the box, there's a 5-man box defensively, and you have 6 blockers. They're thinking run all the way. They're thinking pass all the way. And with Justin Fowler, they kind of snuck that in there. They put the fullback in at the running back position. And that was the real key. And I saw Justin. That's kind of interesting. I don't see him in a one-back set very often. That was an antenna immediately.
Right. It was a dead giveaway that it was going to be some type of quarterback run because of the fullback being in there, and he's not their primary running back.
Hey, Brandon, what's going on? Good evening.
Good evening, guys. Hey, man, enjoying the heck of your show. Stumbled up on it at halftime, same way I did in the Iron Bowl, and I can't turn you guys off. I mean, hats off to you. I'm sure you got something going, Paul.
Well,
hey, listen,
go ahead.
Amari Cooper is fixing to show up, and the Diesel's going to keep going, Derrick Henry. And the gentleman from Buffalo a while ago, I'm telling you, the run game is there, and it will show up. And,
well, if you're an Alabama fan, Brandon, and thank you for the kind words, you finally found your life preserver now, and the defense make a stop.
And I think it's going to be key for this defense. If you're Ohio State now, Alabama came back, they punched back. So now how do you answer? Right. This has been a game of punch, counterpunch, or adjustment.
But it had been a while since Alabama punched back.
28 unanswered.
Yeah.
Okay, but they finally came back and answered. So now, what is Ohio State going to do? Do you continue to stay aggressive with Cordell Jones? Can you bait him into making another mistake the way they did earlier with the interception? So I think that's going to be key. How does Kirby Smart and Nick Saban play this? I still say you got to get pressure up the middle on this quarterback. He's going to make a mistake at some point. Can you capitalize on that mistake?
And I'm a little surprised because when you go back and look at what Ohio State struggled with this year, particularly against Virginia Tech, and I know it's been a long time since the Virginia Tech game, so I apologize to the Buckeye fans that are watching, all 7 of you. I do apologize because what they did, the Virginia Tech Hokies, they put their offensive linemen on an island. They did pick stunts and swoops. They have a 5-down sink 46 Bears defense. We haven't seen that from Alabama. I'm a little surprised because of the depth they have at defensive line. I thought that might be a front that they'd feature, but maybe they'll get to it a little bit as the game progresses.
Alabama's more of a strength and bulk-style defensive line where Virginia Tech can kind of get on the edges. They're a little bit quicker, and so I think that's why you probably haven't seen that. The way Alabama generates pressure is through blitzing and disguise, blitzing and deceiving the other team, and that's what's struggling right now because they have 4 guys up front, and they're not deceiving anyone. They're getting blocked. That has to change throughout this game.
Yes.
And after all this, Alabama only trails 34-28. It seems like it should be about 30 right now. Saban has come back before. We've seen this movie, but we'll just have a different ending.
There's that quarterback counter that we talked about in the first half. Fake the jet sweep, run the quarterback counter. There's a lot of different variations off that motion. It makes it really hard on the defense, Boog, and you can talk about this. When you have guys running sideline to sideline, how hard is it to stay at home from a defensive tackle standpoint?
Well, it just makes you hesitate. And all those things are trying to get the skies to make your guys, if they hesitate for 1 second, now it allows Cordell Jones to come up the middle. And it's a 5-yard gain. Now it's second and very, very manageable.
And you got press coverage on the outside. Let's see if Ohio State tries to take another shot here.
Here they come. Blitz is coming.
See, Alabama's playing with the 2 deep safeties and man underneath. Now they're getting to that 2-man. And they're saying, hey, if you can run the ball against our front, then go ahead. But we're going to try to take away the deep passing game. And as a result, that defensive line is answering the challenge that Kirby Smart's putting on.
The Saban team has not given up 28 points in his tenure. He gave up 27 against Arkansas, I believe, in 2007. They came back to win that game. So
35 against South Carolina in 2010 stands out to me. That was...
We'll continue with phone calls at 855-242-7285, and we've had some interesting ones tonight. A little bit of a meltdown among the Alabama and SEC fan base. Let's go to Brady in Hammond, Louisiana. Hey, Brady.
Paul! How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Hey, Greg, you're receiving heavy praise on Twitter for your analysis, and you now have the nickname Rain Man. God bless. And, Paul, if Bama loses tonight to OSU, what are the ramifications that loss would have on the SEC's reputation, considering the ass-kicking that the SEC and the SEC West have received this bowl season?
Can you spell cataclysmic? Because I mean, it really would. It's hard to even think about it. Although I am thinking about it right now because of the score, but it would be a devastating blow to the psyche of this conference. We've all said it ad nauseum. It's the best conference in the country. The SEC West is the best conference in all of football. Well, if Alabama loses this game, no one is going to listen to that conversation. I don't care what happened this year. The attacks on the SEC will be savage.
Well, it'll be fast and furious because Alabama, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, the heavy hitters in the West, and Auburn, the heavy hitters in the West would have all been down. So it's no secret this is key, not only for the psyche of the West, but for the psyche of the entire conference.
Yeah, and the fact that this is Alabama and playing the way it is. Let's continue with more calls. Saul is in Austin, Texas on this film room edition. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you guys?
We're well, thank you.
I'm telling you, I'm a huge Bama fan, and I can't believe that Lane Kiffin is killing this football team.
Oh, how quickly.
I mean, they should be ahead by 3 scores, but he's running this.
I don't think Lane Kiffin is playing defense for Alabama, Saul.
Well, this high school Todd Dodge style offense, he's killing this team. I mean, the Crimson Tide, I mean, they're the elite of college football.
football. Yeah. Well, let me say this: Lane Kiffin is not killing. Lane Kiffin is not responsible for the. He's responsible for maybe some of it. There was a touchdown. There was interception for a touchdown, but other than that, Kiffin's play calling has been suspect. It has not been a great night for Kiffin, but it's not over yet either.
Well, no, to his point, we give Lane a lot of credit when you get Amari Cooper wide open. Well, we haven't seen him wide open tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen him in situations where he's running scot-free tonight. So I think when you can give the credit, you also have to give him some of the blame. And so far tonight, he hasn't been able to get Amari Cooper deep. Now, some of that goes to Ohio State because they're starting to keep two safeties back. And anytime a team keeps two safeties back, they're telling you, I'm not going to get beat deep. I'm not going to give up the big play. Now, if they put one safety back and bring another safety for the run, which is why the run game is so important, now you can get Amari Cooper one-on-one to the outside. We really haven't seen him one-on-one since like the first play of the game when they threw the fade route.
Yeah.
That was the last time I saw Amari Cooper one-on-one in this game.
And they need to just figure out a way to be able to continue to feed Derrick Henry. I don't care how tired he is, get the oxygen tank ready. He's going to be the difference down the stretch.
Big play. Here comes pressure. There's five guys that you knew it was coming. You knew they were going to come out of the four-man rush.
And boy, it has been a while since we've seen Alabama impose some
And
rules.
what did we talk about a second ago? We talked about the five-man front. Now, this isn't the Bears. This isn't the 46. The guards are uncovered. But edge pressure, it forces the offensive line to play on an island. I want you to look at this. You're going to get one on him, one on the inside. He'll be head up on the center. He'll be fanning. They'll be fanning. A great job of Jonathan Allen working one-on-one, not pushing the pocket overwhelmingly so. He actually saves a hold and making the play. Huge third down stop for the Alabama defense.
Boy, and you knew at some point, we've been talking about it, they had to start to bring pressure. There you saw the pressure came from Kirby Smart, from Nick Saban. It's only a matter of time. Like, we make football complicated sometimes. It's only a matter of time.
Answer the door. Uncle Mo is waiting to come in.
He's looking to come in.
But what about getting the offensive line on islands?
Right.
Alabama can win the one-on-one battles. Now, when they're only because Ohio State is such a heavy slide protection team where they move more five together as opposed to one-on-one. When you get them in a one-on-one situation, they can be exposed. They were against Virginia Tech. They were at times against other defenses. That's what Alabama needs to continue to do defensively. And look who's in the backfield. Derrick Henry. Feed him the football.
Nice cut.
Really good cut. I love this play right here. I'm going to diagram it real quick. I want you to see this. I want you to watch Justin Fowler and the way he's coming up and blocking the will. I mean, this is really, really good. You're going to see him go through, cut it. That's an outstanding run. Good feel by Derrick Henry. Same play defensively. Same play by Lane Kiffin right there, trying to get Justin Fowler up on that will, get the ISO on the weak side. It's a good concept. They need to continue running that. Keep pressing the whole front side, and you feel the cutback by Derrick Henry.
And you got to give number 79, Austin Shepard, the right tackle. You got to give him a lot of credit because I haven't heard Joey Bosa, but maybe once or twice tonight. Austin Shepard is doing a tremendous job against the all-everything, the all-defensive guy. He is doing a great job against him. So give number 79, Austin Shepard, a lot of credit.
Right there on that last play, by the way, they started to roll the safety down. They're starting to become a little bit concerned about
the run game. Exactly.
What will that open up? But
that opens up the one-on-ones outside.
Back to a too-high defense right here.
Little Oregon feature there. Fake the inside zone, pull. Now it looks like Blake Sims, but oh wait, he's got the bubble out there to Amari Cooper. A little Oregon play almost right there.
All this is triple option. It's a triple option. You look at it. He's reading the end man on the line of scrimmage defensively. When he crashes, he pulls the football. And then you have your pitch key, number 43. That's a great job by Darren Lee. Yes, that's a great job by Blake Sims, reading his pitch key, getting it out to the widest defender, jumping leverage.
Little wrinkle from Kiffin there.
Be smart.
Notice what they tried to do there, Greg. They tried to run.
They tried to run the screen pump.
The screen pump and go. Amari Cooper comes back, and now you see Blake Sims look deep on this play here. Right here we have Amari Cooper. Watch him come back, step back, and you try to get the goal down the sideline here. Deep down the sideline, do a good job of Ohio State diagramming this play.
Yeah, they're actually trying to hit Derrick Henry on a little wheel route. Amari Cooper, rarely the decoy, but right there, he did a good job. That's a good job at the front, too. Noticing it when you're Ohio State. That's a good trick play. They sniffed it out quick. That ball looked like it came out of the bottom of Blake Sims' hand. Sometimes when you see the ball dive like that, it's one of two reasons. He overstrided, and you couldn't get the power through your front leg, or the ball was sitting a little bit back in your palm, and you get a little bit too much hand on it.
Is that because you have small hands, or is that
big hand guy? Palm your head.
Okay, he is.
All right, here you go. Third and 12. Let's see if they screen him right here.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be surprising to me if we see a screen.
There it comes.
Screen.
Right there.
That's a little bit predictable. On third and long, you're thinking screen if you're a defense. Are you not, Boog?
Screen or draw.
Screen or draw.
Yeah, screen or draw.
Alabama failed to convert the momentum there, Booger.
And honestly, as good as Derrick Henry is, he's outstanding. Believe me, he's downhill runner. He's as strong and as big as anybody in this game from the running back standpoint. He's not your best screen back because his acceleration isn't exactly on level, on par with what Yeldon could do.
Right.
Just takes a little while to get that big body going.
Well, Alabama's MVP right now about to touch the ball.
Well, we know he can kick it deep. Can he pin him now? We know he's got to be able to pin him down there. Good hang time.
Ooh. Yeah, he can. He can.
Well, and here's the thing. Being a punter, sometimes you can outkick your coverage. But in a situation like that, he could have booted it 70 yards probably in the end zone. But he kicked it very, very high, allowed his coverage a chance to get down. Now he's pinning them inside the 10-yard line.
34-28, Alabama defense now will be called upon. We'll continue your calls as we take you to the end of the national semifinal.
I'm Dory Noka, and you're watching the SEC Network. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage.
Derrick Henry, I think, is the first option we're going to go to. Derrick Henry to the left side. This is kind of the same area where he had the 20-plus yard touchdown run early in the game. Sure. I foresee Derrick Henry getting the football right here.
If I'm them, I'm going to that toss-crack play we talked about earlier. It was the same exact play they scored the touchdown on against Auburn to start the game.
That looked like Booger backing up a 9-iron.
Same way, Paul.
By the way, Ohio State 33 straight wins when leading by 13 or more. We're about to see if that can hold up. But this is one of the biggest moments of the year, I think, for Alabama. Everything seems to be tilting their way right now.
Well, let's see what kind of formation they're getting into.
Amari Cooper looks to be using the backfield.
Amari Cooper starting in the backfield. That'll get you to dictate what you're doing defensively quickly.
Quarterback run,
throw back.
Oh, my. That's a good way to kill him, man.
Let's take a look as to what.
Kind of baited him into that one a little bit.
Let's see. Let's take a look and see exactly how it happened. I thought they were going to go for a throwback there, the way Blake Sims held up. A little over route. Man, he's got him. It just takes him too long. I want you to take a look at this. We'll take a peek at it after.
We'll take a short break. The momentum shifting dramatically on that interception. We'll be right back.
We move ahead in our coverage.
The Ohio State punter really couldn't be any farther back unless he was in the first row.
And I think the return is going to be on again. I don't think they're coming for the block.
They did come for the block. And there's a flag down. Let's see if it's just a running into the kicker or a roughing the kicker.
Running into would be 5, roughing is 15.
Yeah, why are you doing that, knowing you're going to get the ball back?
It says, all right, so I'm reading his lips, and I'm certainly no expert. I think he just said running into the kicker. Now he's saying 5 yards.
Yeah, he's holding up to 5 yards. And to your point, Paul, that's why you don't rush the guy. I mean, because number one, you're putting a lot of pressure on your rushers to make a right decision. You know you're going to get the ball back. Last time they got the ball back inside the 25 yards.
Alabama getting some good karma right now because they've been on the precipice for quite a while.
Let's see the replay and see it.
And Alabama got caught a break on the non-pass interference call. They caught a break here. Are they going to take advantage of it?
And Urban Meyer just threw his headset into the first row.
He should have.
He went Steve Spurrier.
If Ohio State loses, he's going to replay the second half with hitting his head against the wall.
Let's see how hard this guy gets touched.
He gets touched pretty hard. What do you think, guys?
Normally it's roughing if you hit the plant leg.
We're down to the final few minutes of this game. Don't go anywhere. Hang around with us.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage.
You got to assume they're going to keep the ball on the ground. If I'm Ohio State, I probably don't want to put it in the air.
Right.
If they do, I'd be a little surprised.
Alabama's already burned one of those timeouts.
Cardale Jones is just such a big body. He falls forward. He can stand up and just fall down, and he's going to fall forward 2 yards. So
what happened when you're like 6'5" and 250?
6'5", 250 will do that.
Pretty smart. Begging his defense to bail him out with a turnover here.
He's gone. So that's not a good situation to be in.
Alabama's hopes for a national championship appearance may have gone down the drain there. Ezekiel Elliott.
And that's the one thing we said that they could not allow Ezekiel Elliott to do, is to play on the perimeter. He's too explosive, he's too fast, and when he gets an open field, it's impossible to stop. A good design right here. I mean, it's a really good design. It's the play that Alabama runs an awful lot of as well. You can see you're just going to get stretch front, trying to get out to the edge with some pullers. You're going to have a puller here. You're going to have movement. And a good job at the point of attack, 81. Vanna trying to basically hold the edge and just over pursuit. You can see. I mean, if Reggie Ragland was in there, maybe it's a different story. You have some guys that are not necessarily every down players that are in there. Might have made a mistake filling the gaps in the back on the left side.
And it was the mistake of the year, the longest play from scrimmage, and Alabama's hopes of getting to Dallas literally hanging by a thread right now.
And they want to go for two here to make it a 2-touchdown game.
And they got it.
42-14, so now it's a 2-touchdown
game. Offense that couldn't do anything makes the play of the game, and
that pretty much seals it. I mean, it's really difficult under the circumstances to come back. I mean, you have to call a spade a spade. It's really tough to come back in the situation. It is what it is. Alabama is going to look back at this game and be really, really disappointed with their play offensively. This will be. I mean, they just didn't execute. I mean, they had opportunities, and they did not execute. And credit to Ohio State. They did a really nice job, especially in a play like this.
Let's go back and give a little reaction. Jim was on a rant earlier. Jim is back with us now. Jim, good evening.
Well, I just had a lot of people ask me, Paul, what time is your book burning going to be tomorrow in Brian?
It's pretty early in the morning.
My conference can be who?
My conference can't be anybody's conference.
Can't be nobody.
I'm glad we got the advance cashed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you made a point to make that point clear all year long. Look,
now, Jim, you know me. I mean, this has been a disaster for the SEC if this holds up.
But
I'm not going to say anything else.
Even to Greg, who's this bro scholar, and gives all the details, I just want to say, Greg, Alabama has been manhandled about 5 times this year, but they escaped the noose. Tonight, they didn't escape.
No.
And we've talked about it. I mean, this Alabama team has improved as much as anybody. They've gotten so much better over the course of the season. They've done really a nice job, especially at the quarterback position. Blake Sims developing into a fine all-SEC caliber performer. They just ran into a buzzsaw tonight. They really did not play well.
Well, but, they did.
And there's still a chance.
They did, but they still could have won this game easily. Well, not easily, but they could have won this game without the Blake Sims pick six. And everything was going Alabama's way.
And what about the lack of aggression on offense?
Well, no, I'm getting, in spite of all of that, they were in a great position to win this game.
Well, I'm not going to put it all on the pick six ball, because when you lose a ball game, it's not just one play. That was a key play.
It was a momentum killer.
It was a momentum play, but when you look back on this game as of right now, I'll say it again. When Alabama has struggled or lost this year, Amari Cooper hasn't been a big factor. He hasn't been a big factor today, and I think that's going to be as Greg said, the overall offensive game plan and getting him involved.
Well, I mean, I think the decision-making on the part of the offense and defense tonight of the coaches has been
there will be plenty of criticism of Nick Saban. Probably most of it will be pointed at Lane Kiffin, and that just comes with the territory.
Your defense gave up 42 points. It's a fact.
I agree with that.
Now, the offense, they did not execute well. They really didn't for a better part of the game. And it's things like this. I mean,
it's just,
they're dialed up. Ohio State came in with an outstanding game plan and played exceptional football. You have to give credit to the opponent. Everyone's always going to talk about what Alabama didn't do and what they did do and the mistakes they made. Sure, yes, Alabama is a very good football team. They were tonight. They play against a top 4 team.
But Greg, in all honesty, none of that's going to matter in the national narrative. I mean, you can spin this. I'm not meaning you, but
I understand.
I mean, this is a towering inferno right now at Alabama, unless something can change here in the next couple of seconds. And by the way, it looks like it might.
I don't know how that happened to Ohio State.
It's still in the head.
We'll save the book burning at least until the end of the game, Jim.
I don't know how that happened.
Well, it's a great move by DeAndre White. The safety bites up. He puts
They fake the deep end.
Up. Yeah.
It's a nice route by DeAndre White, and a good job of him stepping up. I haven't really called his number very much tonight, but they need some plays. I mean, they need some big plays in a hurry. Dangerous right there. They tried that pop screen again. Blake Sims, you can't really be late on that. When they diagnose it, it's kind of over. Throw it at the guy's feet. Don't throw it in an area where they could possibly get tipped up and picked. And this is when you're in the groove right now. You really have to be aware of the situation here. Now, you don't want to force anything, but you don't want to be too careful either, knowing that every second off the clock can affect you. They just haven't been able to get Amari Cooper free tonight.
Just haven't. And when you look back on it, I think that's going to be the biggest. That's going to be my
really
biggest
good
takeaway.
point. That's a great point. Amari Cooper, in questionable play calls, and a defense at times played great. At times, but other times it's simply run over.
Hasn't been consistent. They've given up over 300 yards rushing tonight.
Let's see what they go with on the 3rd and 10. Fourth and 2. Always, obviously, 4-down territory.
I would say pretty obvious.
No doubt. Obviously, a 4-down territory. I like the play call. Just get in a manageable situation, because if you do try to take a shot at the end zone, you got 4th and 10. That's a lot more difficult than a 4th and 2. Throw it underneath the sticks, get out of bounds, work the boundary. Need to hurry.
You got to think Ohio State's going to be in some type of man-to-man defense. Look for maybe a bunch, pick some type of one-on-one situation for.
They're going to say, why haven't Alabama run that all night? A little slant, nice shot.
And Ohio State was trying to call a timeout. Before the ball is snapped, number 11 is trying to call a timeout for them.
Amari Cooper, we talk about not having a ton of production tonight. He still has 2 touchdowns. So he has impacted the game somewhat. More so as a decoy, though, than the usual production that we see from him.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to Andy in Ohio. Andy?
Hey, Paul. How's it going?
It's going great down there, Andy.
Hey, I'd like to point out to your little Einstein there, who's analyzing everything, and keeps saying that nobody improved across the course of the year better than Alabama. We lost to Virginia Tech, so I think the Buckeyes may have had a slight bit more of improvement across the.
Well, I think I would agree with you on that.
I think both teams are absolutely so improved. Frankly, for Nick Saban and Urban Meyer, we've both said, Paul, you've talked about it, this might be their finest coaching jobs. Both of these guys, they've done an incredible job getting their teams into this game.
Well, you know what I mean? Urban Meyer has accomplished a lot with a perceived third-string quarterback. But really, Nick Saban should get some credit because nobody thought that Blake Sims was going to lead them to anywhere at all. And, ultimately, his shortcomings are probably the turning point in this game.
Anyway, Andy, we'll come back to you in a minute, but I would say this is a pretty important kick right now.
Slightly.
Right, and when you're the kicker, you're trying to get that first couple hops and that big second or third hop where the ball bounces up, and you want these guys to run down there and just create some havoc, but you got to get that first and that second big hop. There's the hop he needed.
Boy, that was close.
That was a perfect kick.
Yeah.
That's a great job by Spencer high-pointing the football. He tried to tip it up, but that was an absolutely ideal onside kick.
Andy?
Sir, yes, sir. Yeah, remember, you guys are 9 seconds ahead of me, so, Ohio State's fantastic. Urban Meyer does a great job with special teams. The best players are out there, and Evan Spencer, who's been the best player on the field tonight, was out there, and he pulled that thing in. So
let's go to Bryce in Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, Bryce.
Hey, Paul. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Thanks for taking my call.
You
really enjoy your show. Watch it every day.
Thanks a lot.
Obviously, the SEC is the powerhouse of college football. I just saw the onside kick got recovered, so, basically SEC got wiped today.
That would be a fair statement.
Sorry to be Mr. Obvious.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm not listening to all the conversation about how great the SEC was, because when it really mattered, and it really mattered today and yesterday, particularly tonight, the SEC did not win, and that's you can't scrape that away.
I'm very surprised by that play call right there. Alabama with only 2 timeouts left. Ohio State could have forced them to burn both of those and taken an additional 40 seconds off the clock. I'm really surprised they decided to throw it on first down.
Instead, they go with a stutter goal, trying to put the nail in the coffin. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite.
That was an interesting decision.
Yeah, to me, it was a very, very poor play call right there.
Why would you do that instead of just run the clock out?
I understand trying to be aggressive.
If you run 3 plays, there's 2 timeouts. You're really down to virtually nothing.
And that's how you get in. You don't get any yards. You kick it to them with about 35, 40 seconds left.
We'll see.
And that was a really interesting decision. It really was. And if anything, you can go 3 straight.
You're also an offensive coordinator that has a head coaching job.
I understand being aggressive, and I always applaud coaches that are wanting to be aggressive. But right there, you can put Alabama really back into the corner if you just run it 2 times, force them to use their timeouts, and then give Cardale Jones a run-pass option where if a guy's there, deal it. If not, run the football or take a sack, pin Alabama down deep inside their own 5. That's kind of an interesting decision right there by Tom Herman.
And we've talked so much about Lane Kiffin, but we haven't really spent much time about Kirby Smart. He's been gashed a number of times this year, brother.
And you would never expect an Alabama rush defense that was leading FBS, giving up only 88 yards a game.
Right.
They've gotten gashed for over 300 yards tonight. And 2 things you look back: Alabama's rush defense and the lack of Amari Cooper.
There may be only one consolation prize to all this, Booger. The fact that Alabama Alabama's defense doesn't have to face Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the performance they put on today. Wow. But now you see it's going to be third down. Alabama still has one timeout.
Yeah,
The reason being is because of the first down stutter
Greg
goal
made a
play.
really good point on
Exactly.
that. I mean, we're nailing the coffin, but there will still be a couple of plays left in this. And
I wouldn't be shocked to see him possibly throw it again here, based on the decision making.
If you were aggressive the first play, why not be aggressive on the third?
You might as well throw it again. Either way, Alabama's going to have to march the length of the field more than likely. So, if you're Alabama, I'm thinking I'm trying to block the punt, one. And two, what are going to be my 4 plays offensively that I want to go to? You want to go over your clock procedure on the sideline. If I'm Blake Sims, I'm going over to the guy and say, okay, be ready. If I say clock, that means we're going to be spiking the football. So go over, make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you take the field, because you're not going to have time to make any mistakes once you're out there.
It did not go very well.
Wow. They almost got a hold of that football. A really nice job by Nick Perry being aware of the situation.
Who would have ever believed they would have this much time?
And that's what we took 4 o'clock management. Now Alabama's going to have the football with about 90 seconds left, probably having to go 70 or 80 yards.
Blake Sims was in a similar situation in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, the people in Baton Rouge say, yeah, we've seen this before.
And that game went into overtime. Now, I'm shocked. I agree. You guys were all over that play. It'll be interesting to see what the thought process was there if this one blows up in Meyer's face.
I think Alabama's coming with an all-out block here. I mean, be smart about running into the kicker. Obviously, give your offense a chance, but you got to think they're going to be aggressive trying to come after this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just a solid return, huh? All right, this is the opportunity you dream about. I mean, this is...
If I had asked you guys 5 minutes ago if Alabama would have the ball with 1:33 left, what chance would you have said? I mean, they were going to have the ball with less than 35 seconds left, weren't they, brother?
They should have.
If Alabama, if they just run 3 plays.
If they took a knee 3 times and then punted, they would have the ball with less time than that.
With less than a minute.
Right, but right now what you have is you have a 2-minute situation, no timeouts. They practice this all the time in practice.
Right.
Normally, Paul, first play of 2 minutes, you're trying to get the drive started. Screens, draws of some sort. The first play of 2 minutes.
It looked like Alabama had already lost. I mean, is there? What's the pressure like right now for Blake Sims? Do you think it's a little bit easier considering that they've been given a gift?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a little bit easier. You still have to go 80 yards. The defense is playing really well, but hey, look. I mean,
they just found the minute 33 on the clock.
Absolutely. No, it's a lot better situation to be in than with a 53 seconds.
Well, Amari Cooper finally show up.
And think about this. In college football, Paul, Greg, every first down the clock stops.
Yes.
It's really not important that you have timeouts. You just have to get yardage in increments of 10 to keep the clock stopped and get first downs. But once again, did not get a first down.
No.
The clock continues to go. You have got to get first downs.
This has not been great, man.
In a 2-minute situation.
You got to be a little bit more aggressive here, especially with no timeouts. Now, if you get a first down, then you can take a little bit more time, but...
There's only 47 seconds left.
That's been one of Blake Sims' best throws all season, hitting the slant. Now you got a little time, hustle up, see if you don't get a double move here maybe, see if you can't take a shot, catch him napping with a slant and go or something.
Okay, let's see if Blake's
wasting a lot of time here.
And redeem himself from a very average game call.
Man-to-man, Ohio State's bringing pressure.
I 25 seconds left.
Yeah, I might spike it here.
Yeah. They're taking a long time.
All right, so I'm thinking they're going to throw something close.
Time is just
they're going to throw something on a quick out here. Or, there you go. A little quick out right there, thinking just, hey, I'm going to steal a couple yards.
How many plays do they have left?
3 max.
3 plays, tops.
3 max. And if you're Ohio State defensively, you got 2 safeties back. You keep everything in front of you right now. It would be a mistake for Ohio State to blitz. Right now, you keep everything in front of you.
I mean, how many times, though, have you seen guys this season in college football mess up on Hail Marys? Arizona's hit one. Arizona State hit one against USC. Mississippi State hit one against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So there was one in the Central Florida, East Carolina game.
East Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the question here. Alabama can potentially make a play on a Hail Mary. There's really, I've seen a lot of college.
But what do you make of this series, though? This has just been very chaotic. Well, I mean, you started with plenty of time.
Started with a minute 33.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
the first 2 plays of the series where they threw balls underneath and got tackled and didn't get first down. The clock continued to roll. They probably lost 25 or 30 seconds. Now, you really only got 1 play left unless you run a quick out or something.
You can see it here. Amari one-on-one down here. If they get a one-on-one situation, he's going to try to get it to Amari. But other than that, it looks like it's going to be a Hail Mary.
And that is it. Ohio State
taking their games over.
Will meet Oregon for the national championship, and after winning 2 national championships in a row, Nick Saban was denied last year, and he has fallen 1 game short this time around. A stunning game in almost every imaginable way.
Well, it's a stunning game because the Alabama defense really got manhandled by a 3rd-string quarterback, and nobody thought that would happen. Amari Cooper really was non-existent. Blake Sims struggled throwing the pick 6. So all the things that we said couldn't happen in this game, or we thought they couldn't happen, they wound up happening. And to me, number one, let's give Ohio State some credit, okay? Cordell Jones, 3rd-string quarterback, has now won the Big Ten championship game and the college football playoff semifinal. So let's give this young man some
credit. That's great, but there's no sugarcoating. This is a crushing blow to Alabama and to Nick Saban. Yes, he's still the best coach in the country, although some will begin to pick at that. But this is just an amazingly disappointing night and a huge night for Urban Meyer. Took a year off and came back to Ohio State and has been flawless with the exception of last year's Big Ten championship game. Let's grab some reaction, and I'm sure there's going to be some interesting reaction. Tammy is up next. Tammy?
Oh, I'm so glad Oregon is in there. We lost, but you know what? We played a heck of a game against Wisconsin, but you know what's even more about it, even though we lost?
What's that?
Ohio State won. That's even better. I don't care if we did lose. It makes it even better. It makes my loss better because Ohio State beat Alabama. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful. And everybody out there, Oregon is going to win it. Oh,
Nothing like SEC teams pulling for
a lot of in-state
each other. Yeah, let's go out to South Lake, Texas. I think our man across the aisle here knows that place pretty well. It's JP. What's up?
Good evening, fellas.
Good evening.
Well, not doing so well out here on South Lake. We had a tough one tonight, but I'm gonna tell you something. If there's one man that don't deserve to get on a team bus, it's Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
And he made Todd Dodge look like Bear Bryant tonight. I'm telling you. I mean, he don't let him on the bus.
Well, I think he'll probably get a seat. He's
Todd Dodge was my high school coach.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So.
So you're telling me that I was beginning to wonder if my football acumen has gotten to an all-time low.
Fair, yeah. Todd Dodge was my high school coach and went on to be the head coach at North Texas for a little while. I think it's important to really reflect.
Well, thank you very much for the call. Josh is in Ohio. I'm sure there is celebrating in the streets. Hello, Josh.
Yeah, we got streets up here. We're celebrating. You know what I love about the SEC and you guys down south? You always talk about how you're superior, but you never, ever, ever during a game can ever give credit where credit's due. The majority of our squad is going to be Northern boys that just went down there in your backyard and whooped your team. At halftime, 348 yards to 148. The only reason Alabama's in this game to the end is the 2 turnovers by Ohio State. You guys won't admit it. You'll just keep on talking about the Southern is the best. In the Big Daddy Bowls today, the SEC took it on the chin. 0-3.
Listen, I don't know. No one is denying that.
The Big Ten
Josh,
play football. You guys talk stuff all the time. Josh, I'm coming on ESPN, throwing down the gauntlet because the SEC is owned by ESPN. You got your $3 billion deal.
Sure.
The Big Ten just owned you guys tonight. Urban Meyer came down there, owned the SEC. That's where it's at. Now we're going to win bowl championship. And this is the greatest time to be an Ohio State fan because you know what? Urban's here. You guys are going to be scared for the next 10 years where he's up here. He's going to own the SEC.
Josh, let me give you some credit, Josh. Josh, what you're saying.
Every year I have to listen to you guys talk your stuff.
Okay, but Josh.
You're going to listen to us now.
Josh, here's what you want, Josh. Here you go. Hey, Josh, here's somebody on the SEC network that's going to give you credit.
Bowl game against us. You never schedule out of conference tough games against.
Wisconsin played LSU in the first game of the year.
Josh, I'm trying to give you credit if you'll let me, Josh.
Josh, no. Hold on a second, Josh. Here's the problem with guys like Josh. I mean, they are going to run their mouth, and there's nothing anyone down here can do about it. But just at least, Josh, let somebody talk to you, though.
Josh, I'm trying to give you a little credit here. You're right. Urban Meyer and the SEC, I will tell you right now, they came to New Orleans, they were the underdog, 8-9-point underdog, and they physically beat Alabama tonight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Over 300 yards rushing, a third-string quarterback. You have to give your hats off to Ohio State. And they physically manhandle Alabama at the line of scrimmage. And they took away Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and Ohio State was a better team. I mean, what do you want me to? What do you want us to say?
No, I mean, there's no getting around that. But I think what you're hearing, and Greg, you do a talk show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no stopping this. And I said before the game, winning this game is not nearly as big as Alabama losing it, and it's happening. And let it roll. What difference does it make?
And look, hey, Alabama, the SEC, everybody had a really nice run for 8 years. I mean, it was a great run. 8 years, 8 times having a member of this conference, a member of the SEC, play for a national championship. It was a great run. All great runs must come to an end at some point.
And what will happen now, though, is those who said the Saban dynasty is over, they're going to get a lot of fuel on that. And I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that this is now 2 years without a national championship for Nick Saban. That's a disaster in the triangle of Nick Saban's career.
Guys, but you know what this is more than anything, and this from a national perspective. Have you ever been told for years that you can't do something?
Right.
The rest of the country has been told for years you can't beat the SEC. The SEC's won 7 out of 8 titles. They've played for a title 8 times. The rest of the United States of America has been told what they can't do. So the entire country has said, you know what? Not only can we do it, we're going to come in here and show you. And then when we do it, we're going to brag about it. And to me, that's what you're going to hear on your show and Greg's show all week.
Though. SEC fans beat their chest. The SEC influence is large, and then and some people write books saying that the SEC is king and can beat everybody else's conference.
What's the name of that book again?
My conference.
The fact of the matter, and look, I'm proud to have been associated with this conference. I'm proud to have played against these great schools. I'm proud to have been there during a time in which we did go to 8 straight championships. But you know what? There are other good teams out there. There are other good conferences out there. There are outstanding coaches outside this conference.
Do I think from top to bottom standing up on that podium instead of Nick Saban?
And there are some outstanding teams still in the SEC. I know that the bowl record doesn't necessarily reflect that at 5-5.
I don't see well, but I haven't seen that many in the last couple of days.
But you know what? There's still bright days ahead for this conference.
Well, I mean, nobody's denying that, but you also can't deny that this is a really dark day for the SEC, and
it's a dark couple days.
Well, listen, the Auburn loss, the Ole Miss loss, the Mississippi State loss, all those are
the SEC West
are difficult.
The SEC West got manhandled.
But nothing will sting as much as this one tonight. I mean, this is one of the 2 biggest games in college football history, and Alabama at 2 or 3 different times in the game had a chance to put it away early, and then late they were in a great position. And it slipped away, and I don't know how you explain that. Let's grab some more calls here. And Jerry is up next in Alabama. Hey, Jerry.
What's up, guys?
We're doing great.
Hey, it's frustrating. Well, first of all, Tammy's a nut. I've never pulled for Auburn.
Know that.
I pulled for Auburn.
Okay.
I pulled for Auburn today, and first time in my 50 years, and their defense still hadn't tackled anybody. But
I wouldn't worry about Auburn's defense if you're an Alabama fan.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm frustrated. We're supposed to be the king of defensive coaches, and we can't cover anybody. What is the problem? And if we run Derrick Henry tonight 25 times, we win the game.
Well,
what's up with that?
Well, whatever's up with that can wait, because there's plenty of time to do soul searching on that. Frank is in San Antonio, Texas. Good morning where we are. It's almost good morning where you are.
Yes, hi, Paul. This is Frank from San Antonio. I'm a big Longhorn fan. I'll just get that out to start with. Greg, you were a great player in college. I'll give you that. But tonight, the game was out. The only thing I'll say about tonight, those Ohio State fans can say a lot. I'm not a super SEC fan. I did graduate from South Carolina in the Army, but Alabama handed them the game tonight. I mean, Ohio State can beat their chests all they want, but they barely won the game, and Alabama made consistent mistake after mistake the whole night. So
no doubt. You are 100% correct about that. Let's grab Mike up in Kentucky. Mike, how are you?
Yeah. Hey, Paul. How are you doing, buddy?
We're doing great.
Well, what I want to talk about was something that happened yesterday, that you had a phone caller say that Wisconsin and the Big Ten just threw that game so Ohio State would make it to play in the game tonight. And I just want to prove that, that's not
Well,
true.
I don't think anyone really took that too seriously, but
I don't either. But
we certainly did. Mike is next in Mississippi. Mike, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Paul. How are you guys tonight?
Really well.
Hey, I think Saban needs to get on the bus and just kick Kiffin right off of it and leave him standing there and drive right on off. He did terrible play calling for this offense tonight. He should have done the bread and butter and handing it off, and we'd have been fine. But he's trying to throw passes and do all kinds of stuff on that offense, and Saban needs to just kick his butt to the curb.
Kiffin not handling the peanut gallery very well.